Did you guys also know you have a common friend?
Yeah, Joel.
Yeah, Jam Kennels, Joel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joel's awesome.
I just remember the
Oh,
American connection there with Joel, and then Chris is actually Joel's dad, right?
Yeah. That's my son.
That was a joke they had going on Instagram for like ever.
Yeah, what happened was one time I sent him a package, and instead of writing my name, I just put your dad, and he's never let me forget that. So ever since then, it's I'm his dad, and I owe his mom child support.
Yeah, Joel's a very generous guy.
Oh, dude, honestly, like I barely knew him other than, a little bit of Instagram chatting, and he's like, "Hey dude, I have some manuals if you want them." And I'm like, "Sure." And I was just thinking it was just going to be some bullshit manuals. It was like legit, like Power Blade 2, like heavy manuals. I'm like, "Dude, you're too fucking cool, man."
Yeah, there's times where I'm like, I'm like, "Are you sure you're okay with this?" Because like just ridiculous prices on stuff.
Yeah, he's too cool, too generous, and I mean
he also
he's
seems modest with what he actually has, his collection. Because
he's got
more on Instagram lately.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some of the coolest shit. He sent me some pictures before, and I'm like, "Fuck, you got some real shit, really good stuff." I won't cuss so much during the podcast, dude, because I know you're more of a family-friendly podcast, so we don't want to tarnish your brand. So I'm trying to get it all out. I'm trying to get it all out right now.
Doesn't bother me at all. I just don't like.
Yeah.
No, it's totally cool. I respect that. I dig it, man. The videos you do with you and your kids, or the pictures and everything, is pretty cool, man.
A couple years ago, there was some pick. I always tell this story. There was some pickup that I made, and some guy told the person to look it up on eBay because those are worth money. I got back in the car. I was like, that motherfucker. Right. And my mother-in-law ended up seeing me, and I was like, fucking assholes. So ever since then, I just kind of cut it out.
Yeah.
No, I think it's pretty cool, dude.
Right.
I don't have
it's now too, so I try not to. At least on camera, swear plenty around them, but not on camera.
Yeah. I just try not to around my kids, but on camera and everything like that, I've kind of just done it.
Yeah.
So now it's like the norm, and that's just the way I am when I get talking with friends. Is I get more easy to swear and stuff like that. And this guy talks like a redneck, so that doesn't help.
Sorry, man. I grew up in the hood. It's just the way it is.
So whereabouts in Southern California are you?
It'd be central. I'm in Fresno. Well, I'm in a little town next to Fresno, but nobody knows what that is. So I just say Fresno because barely people know what Fresno is. But unless you look up Vice, you can see a nice video about our meth problem in Fresno.
Okay.
Vice. Yeah, they just did a really nice expose on Fresno's meth problem. So I'm like, yeah, you're like 20 years late on that one. Like, that's some real cutting edge news right there. Like, they make it sound like it's just happened. I'm like, dude, they're on like the third generation of tweakers now. Like, I mean, that's the original tweakers grandkids you're interviewing. So. Yeah, but anyway, no, but it's a gold mine for stuff though, dude. Like some of the stuff, like I used to pull so much stuff and I didn't really post it much, and whenever I would, people would be like, "Oh, that's bullshit. You didn't get, like I don't know what to tell you, man." Like it was a big area for video games, and I would get it. It's like dirt cheap. I always end up finding stuff I never think I would find too. Like, I mean, I got a Donkey Kong machine for free, and NES Sharp TV for $50. And I was just talking about it the night before. I was like, the girl I was with at the time, we were looking at one because I really wanted one. So she was gonna surprise me and buy one off eBay, but at the time they were like $1,000 or $900. And I was like, those were missing the feet, and it was all jacked up. And she's like, well, maybe we'll find one at a yard sale. And I'm like, yeah, right. And literally the next day, like, I mean, I'm not even joking. The next day, I go to this guy's house. I start chatting with him, and he tells me, I got a Nintendo with a TV with a Nintendo built into it. And I'm like, uh-huh.
Yeah, that's that.
And
I'm interested. I'm interested in knowing.
yeah, can I see that? You
No,
know?
he keeps his cool.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
Don't show your hand.
I
Right.
wish I could have recorded it, man. It went from it's in the house, you can't see it, to all right, I'll let you see it, to hey, do you mind if I just take it outside? Sure. I can't get rid of it. It's a collectible, to his dad's handing me an extension cord to test it. And then I'm like, and I was just trying to come at him with a number. I truly wasn't expecting him to say yes to $50, but I didn't want to say anything lower. I mean, you got to start at a point. You got to make it where you got to start somewhere. If I say 100, then there's nowhere for him to go but up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Okay, good. 'Cause this is good stuff.
yeah,
My,
and
my starting point is usually $20,
Okay.
and then I
Well-
find that that's a lot of times, 70% of the time, $20 will get almost anything here done.
Okay.
Like it's like, hey, I can offer you $20, expecting them to be like, oh, I was thinking more like 50 or 60, but half the time they're like, oh, that's fine, and $20 gets it.
Do you think
Well-
that has to do with our area at all? Like,
I mean, I've said this before, that I think that garage sailing in the States is much different than here. I think in Canada it's more so people clearing out clutter and getting rid of stuff to make
Mhm.
room. I think it's slightly more in the States, and more so to make money,
okay.
from what I've seen. Now, I've been garage sailing in Florida and Maine and Michigan. Florida, Maine, and Michigan.
Okay.
And it seemed more like there was more people that were like, well, I'm looking stuff up on eBay, which I don't get a whole lot here. Do you?
Not a lot. I mean, I have seen one garage sale in my neighborhood here
Yeah.
where I walked up and the guy has a lawnmower with an eBay listing, a weed
Okay.
whacker with an eBay listing, all
Yeah.
attached to it, like a TV and something else. I can't remember
Mhm.
what else, but it was ridiculous. But that's not very common.
No. She dribbling up there?
I don't know what she's doing.
Sounds like my house. My boys are always dribbling basketballs up there.
Okay, I'm gonna go upstairs. That's like ridiculous.
Well, dude, you got the kick-ass basement, man. Like that is really cool. I'd
Yeah.
like to talk more about it at some point if you don't mind, but
Yeah, for sure.
it's just I'll wait till Derek comes back. But man, that's awesome, dude. Like that's
Yeah, and-
that's like a dream game room right there.
Right. I can't say that I have the best collection. I have a lot of filler. I keep whatever I need.
Yeah, for sure.
But I may have the cheapest collection.
Well,
like-
the thing is, it's not really. I mean, anybody who's doing it for like the competition aspect, you're kind of just going about the wrong way. It's kind of like what makes you happy, and I don't.
Right.
I mean, as good as I think my collection is, there's guys who have. If they woke up with my collection, they would want to commit suicide.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they have like the gold, and it's like I don't care. I just enjoy
Right.
it. I enjoy the hunt.
Yeah.
I get what I want. Like it's just what makes me happy. Everybody has different goals. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I've never
Uh,
compared my collection to anyone else's. I don't care, right? Like that's great, Sid Bolton or Joel from The Last Gamer. Like I'm happy for those people.
Mhm.
I'm not sitting here going, man, I wish I had that, because I'm more than happy with the stuff that I've been able to find.
Yeah, it would be cool to have it, but I don't need it. The way I look at my collection is usually it's stuff that I want to play.
Yeah.
And once I'm done playing it, most of the time I'm fine with getting rid of it.
Right.
Unless it's something from my childhood, which is mainly SNES
Yeah.
or
For
N64.
me, like I still have enough room to keep what I don't have. And I don't feel the need to get rid of things because I didn't pay anything for them.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like I don't look at it and go, oh, I have this much into that, I need to get this out of it. For me, it's all essentially free. So I'm
Yeah,
still waiting for the market to crash. Like I said that in the
yeah,
other,
you said that on your podcast.
yeah, on the podcast, I think, right? Like that would make me I just want to collect more games, right? Like I don't care what my collection's worth.
Yeah.
yeah, if you listen to Pat, he's like weekly talking about it, and I'm just thinking, all right. I mean,
Actually
you've
listened to
been
that
saying
podcast
that for like.
today,
Yeah.
and I heard him
I
mention
was like, you've been saying that for like 3 years, buddy. I mean, I'm
Right.
not saying some prices aren't fluctuating. Of course they are. Some of the commons have dropped a lot.
Yeah.
Because they were creeping up. There's a lot of commons that were pushing the $20 mark that now they've really leveled out. The rares are still about what they were. They dip sometimes. It just depends on the time of the year. Sometimes of the year they're higher than normal, and then there are other times they're lower than normal. It's just really about who's getting in, who's getting out. You know, the averages aren't that far off what they were. I mean, are there people dumping collections? Of course, but there's also people buying those collections that are getting dumped. I mean,
Yeah.
like when you'll see a major crash is when people aren't buying the stuff that is getting listed, and that's when the crash will hit. I have not seen that yet. I put up games that people want, they buy them immediately. Like I don't have anything that sits on eBay or groups or whatever. Anytime I put something up that's desired, it sells. So there's all, to me, it seems like there's still, the market is still pretty strong. It might not be growing as fast as it was, and that's great because I hate to see guys getting hammered, you know. I mean, some of it was so unnatural too. Like Little Samson, that grew unnaturally. You know what I mean? If you look how fast it went up, that's not natural compared to some of its count. Like it took a long time for a game like Panic Restaurant to start to get into that discussion, and it's equally as rare, if not more rare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I went to a convention, you know, a couple weeks ago, and I saw at least 4 Little Samsons. I didn't see one Panic Restaurant. You know what I mean? And that might just be indicative of what the people brought, but I can honestly say I've seen more Little Samsons in Panic Restaurants, yet the prices don't reflect that because it's unnatural. There's people who were buying them up and pushing the price up.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people are still sitting on them because I see guys all the time still trying to peddle it for, you know, there was the ones at the peak where they were getting 1,500, but it's not as common. You have to have something really, really nice and hit the right buyer at the right time.
And it's cyclical, right? Like, you know, it was NES, now it's N64.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like the new people are getting in, who are getting in now are younger.
Yeah.
So their focus is more on stuff like the N64.
Yep. I could see that. I haven't seen it myself, but well, actually, I see a lot of people posting in search of N64s lately, so that does match up for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I passed up a Panic Restaurant at a garage sale my first year for $20. I just told this story tonight. So I bought each game. There's probably 20 games. I bought them all for like $2 a piece. But this one game, they wanted 20 for. I'm like, you're crazy. I had just started collecting, and I was like, oh, I'll find it again. No.
Yeah.
$2, passed it up. Yeah.
We were just saying, I think last month, that everybody has a story like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's actually start this episode.
Yeah. Do the intro.
Yep. This is Dollar Dorks podcast, episode 24. On this podcast, we aim to share video game buying and selling tips, give suggestions of games to watch out for, provide tips on how to fund your collection with your collection, and hopefully change perceptions some people have of sellers in the video game collecting community. I am your host, Derek of Two Dorks. Chris over here is my co-host, CWR2, and next to me is Charlie, SeeJayAre. So we've kind of been shooting the shit, as we were saying. This is all, I'm going to edit this in somehow. Also on shooting the shit, I had that I finally got some eBay listings up, not including the Furby. Chris isn't listening.
Yeah, I heard you. I'm trying to find your little your rundown, so I'm on point with you.
Well,
but yeah, you
addresses again.
you listed the Furby.
I didn't.
Congratulations!
I got up 12 new listings. Not the
Furby. Oh well, come on, dude. Like,
I want to do a video of it working, so I just haven't done it yet. It's gonna be the next thing I have to list.
Now, do you attach a video to your listing, or you just to have it in case they try to pull a case on you?
Well, yeah, I guess you can't put a video. I thought somebody.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I thought they were going to start doing it, but yeah. I haven't seen it yet.
And they don't allow HTML in your description either, so you couldn't put in like a YouTube link, probably.
No, you can't do that because they're afraid you're going to try to make the sale off-site.
I think they also didn't. They wanted to make it mobile friendly as well. Was one of their excuses at one time, where they didn't want anything in the description that wouldn't work on a phone for sure. That was what they said at one time.
I think that's bullshit. I think they just want to make sure you're not directing them off-site.
Totally unrelated to that, but totally related. I was modifying a listing on the app the other day, and when I finished revising it and saved it, it said, "Here's a direct link to your listing. If you sell the item with this direct link, you won't pay any fees." Think about that. That kind of worked.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about because they want you to post that link on Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. I've seen that.
Is that
they're looking for, Yeah, I think that's part of their man. They're doing a lot of stuff I don't like right now. I have nothing against that.
Yeah,
But
yeah. That's a
that
good
seems
one.
like a cool thing. Of course, if you're already, especially if you're already the kind
You
of
find the
person.
seller, basically.
Right, exactly. You're doing the work, and I guess they're thinking of it as like you're bringing people to the site that maybe wouldn't
That's
go to
true.
the site, which is, I don't really think they need to grow it, man, unless they're getting they're starting to see a decline with the various other options that are out there now, especially Facebook. They're really pushing that marketplace.
Yeah, that could make sense. Just trying
I
to
get
compete with that.
updates all the time. Like half the little updates I get when I open up Facebook is you might like this, So,
Yeah,
Are you still selling only within Canada? Is that your
I
way
am on
around?
eBay. Yeah,
And that's your way around like the crap shipping?
yeah, yeah. I just don't want to deal with shipping to the States because it's so bad, like
Yeah.
so high, and complicated. And then when you have a return, because I have returns off, but of course through PayPal they can still do a return, or on eBay if they say the description
Defective.
didn't match the item,
Right.
then they can still force a return. So if I have to do a return, then I have to pay shipping all the way from the States. No, I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I've
Well, you
never
would
used
end up
eBay at all, so I've always
you
just
would end
sold
up
at
just
swaps.
Yeah. That was
you
something
would
I was
have to end up
thinking.
just letting them keep it.
What's that? Sorry.
I said if you did a return, you would almost just have to let him keep it at that
Yeah,
point.
that's what
Just
I think
refund
Bill's
the money.
had to do with his returns.
Yeah, I know Bill's got he's got a tricky one right now. He's having trouble with. I don't think
Another
he
one?
would mind me. Well, it's about that Guitar Hero dongle, and I don't know, man. I feel like if I got on the phone for him, I can get that shut down. I just don't. But he says he's been through 3 reps, and they keep telling him the same thing, that he has to accept the return. I was like, nope, I wouldn't do it.
Did
I
he
would
use
just
your
keep.
phone number that you gave or not?
Yeah, well, there's only a couple of. They're all go to the same place, the eBay numbers. Yeah, I'm assuming he called eBay. I gave him the number, and he
Okay.
might have
You
looked
gave
up
the
his
number.
own version.
Yeah, I would think
Yeah,
that.
it's to the thing. It's just, I mean, I know Bill knows how to talk. I'm sure he's fine, but I don't know. There's just keywords you got to use to kind of plant in their head, and then they end up just regurgitating it right back to you, and it's like,
That's
all you
just
guys-
social engineering you don't even know you're doing.
I guess, because I have never had an issue with the return. If I call up to fight it, it gets shut down. And especially, and the thing is if he works it hard enough, especially considering how cheap the item is, a lot of times eBay will just eat it in that case.
Yeah,
They'll just
I would think.
refund the money, and then you'll get to keep the money. But you got to fight. If you go up and I'm not saying he's not. I don't, I'm assuming he is. But if you really have to, and you got to keep hammering home, where's my buyer's or my seller's protection? You keep saying that, and just keep working your way up the chain. If the rep don't get you there, get someone
Did
else
you
on the
ever
phone.
find that there's diminishing returns when you call too many times? They see the notes and see you've already called 4 times on this issue.
Oh, well, no, I mean, I've never had to do that.
Okay.
I've only had to call a couple of times. There has been a few times where I've gotten a lady or a man who I think there was just too much of a language barrier, and so I just hung up and just called right back.
That's what I do
I'm just
with
curious.
any of those situations.
Yeah.
Even with like dealing with Rogers, like if
Yep.
it's somebody that's not really doing what I want, I just hang up and call back like the next day.
Go back 5 minutes later, you probably won't get the same guy.
You could call right back 30 seconds later. The odds of you getting the same ones is about the same as when Lotto. There's probably hundreds of people in those warehouses that they got those people in. I mean, it's sad, but you can hear them if you really turn your mic up and listen. There's like 50 conversations going on around them. They're all. I hate to think of the poor living conditions those people are in, and they're just like, "Fuck, I just want to go home." Getting their 40 cents
I don't
a
want to hear
day.
you complaining about your $25 USB Guitar Hero.
Right. Exactly.
$25. Is that what those are going for?
Yeah.
The amount of money I
sometimes
could
30.
make if I sold on eBay and Amazon, I could do that for a living.
I wouldn't suggest doing Amazon though.
Yeah.
Unless you did
Amazon's a tough one.
fulfilled by seller.
Right.
By you, not by fulfilled by Amazon, because here it's way bad.
Yeah, the only reason I'd get into Amazon would be if I had a whole bunch of new stock, because then you're in a pretty good shape. I wouldn't really get into the used. I mean, I know people who make a living selling used CDs and books, but
I wouldn't do it in Canada. Is the difference too?
Yeah, probably.
Because there's just not enough people buying in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this
Amazon Prime is huge in the States, man. Like people love that.
Yeah, people are liking it here. There's just not everything you want is on there is the problem here.
Yeah, that sucks. Well, less sellers, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The fees aren't good either, I think, is part of it. All right. Yeah, let's move on to this next section here. So what's new? No, we already talked about that. Your last deal, noteworthy pickup, purchase, or sale? Starting with Chris.
Last noteworthy pickup is okay. So, and it's kind of something we skipped to. I did go a convention recently. Me and Curtis. We went to SoCal, and my only real goal was to finish off my 64 set. I had 4 easy titles. It wasn't going to be hard. It was the hardest one out of them was Goemon's whatever adventure or something like that. I don't know. I don't even care about the game. I just knew I needed it. But it was like Silicon Valley something and
That's
Hydro
Space Station.
Yeah, the Space Station, and then the Hydro Thunder, and
South Park was like your 5th one, I think.
No, that was the one I got last week, and then the last one was what was it? That's fuck.
Yeah, you have a picture of it on your Instagram, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, it's
it doesn't really matter what it was, does it?
Well, I guess not, but right, it's the garbage title, but it was Shadowgate. Shadowgate 64 was so it was those 4. So the first day I picked up 3 of them right away. And Shadowgate was the only one. And I went through that convention probably 5 times, just going through the same stuff, because people still be bringing stuff out. And it just literally wasn't there. And I picked up some amiibos real cheap and some manuals. I got really lucky on some manuals. This one guy was selling his collection, and it was very clean, very nice collection. And I mean, he was cutting the deals. So I did a lot of that. So anyways, and then we saw, the Metal Jesus and a couple of the other YouTubers.
The Metal Jesus.
Yeah, the Metal Jesus. No, you know what?
John Riggs, you posted a picture?
Yeah, John Riggs. I've met Riggs before. I've known him for years on Instagram, but I met Riggs in person the last convention in Arizona. But yeah, it was the first time meeting Metal Jesus. He couldn't have been any nicer. Real nice guy. Guy's a giant too. Like, I mean, I don't feel small next to many people. Not that I felt small, but he's definitely tall. Like, a lot taller than you would imagine he was. It's like, damn, you get him and Complex and Bill and Billy and a couple other people. We get a basketball team going, man. These guys are like 6'5" and up.
Basketball team.
Yeah, and like Aaron's a lot taller than you'd think he would be. I thought Aaron and Ricky would be short, and they're actually tall. Like,
this guy's tall.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I'm not short, but when around other people, like Curtis, now he's short.
Yeah, I mean, Curtis is probably the same height as me, but yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, do you guys mess?
Do you ever see that zombie guy out there? Do you know him?
That zombie guy.
Oh, he's in Southern California.
Oh, he's in Southern California.
You're talking about a guy on Instagram, right?
Yeah,
that zombie guy.
Yeah.
I don't know him. I've seen the name though. Is that somebody you've dealt with before on Instagram?
No, I just follow him, and he's one of the few people that like makes me jealous of his pickups.
Yeah, he's doing it full time now.
He picks up insane. Like I don't pick up anything close to what he gets. Him and remember Casey the Game Nerd?
Yeah.
His pickups were pretty insane.
I think
too.
Is he out now or not?
I think he just
sold his
social media.
He sold his Wii collection. I thought I heard. I think people gave him a hard time for that. Yeah.
Really?
Because he completed the Wii set, and then I thought I heard that he sold it, and people were giving him a hard time.
He had a ridiculous kiosk collection. I know too.
There you go. So that zombie guy's name is Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't remember. But I asked him. He was picking up stuff every single day. So I said, "Are you full time now?" He said, "Yeah."
Well, I just kept saying like, "Hey, you need to open a store." Like with all this, this is insane. And that's what the first guy that I realized how much stuff was in Southern California.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because I've seen people go to flea markets out there.
Okay.
But he hits a lot of garage sales. Like he used to do videos of it too. Like on YouTube. He's on YouTube.
I don't think I've ever seen his YouTube.
And that's what blew me away because I didn't know that they had garage selling, that you could find that kind of stuff garage selling in Southern California.
Yeah, this
I that's all I like to do is garage sales.
You hit flea markets sometimes, but
I only do it usually on the off days. So if it's Saturday, I'm going to yard sales. Saturday is always dedicated to yard sales. The only time I'll go to a swap meet on a Saturday is if it's at the end of the day and I'm just like, I'm right here, I'll just go to it. But Sundays, Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays are swap meets if I want them. And then there's also a swap meet on Wednesday, and there's also a swap meet on Thursday. The Thursday swap meet's pretty dead though.
We don't get any swap meets at all.
We get nothing.
Here.
But are you finding like that's you're finding less and less stuff at swap meets, flea markets?
Well, the thing about swap meets is I'm not necessarily finding a ton of, I'll still come across stuff. You got to. It just depends on what you're into. Like if you broaden your
wide variety of stuff, just to sell on eBay.
Right.
Like, he picks up like these one thing that looked like an old like 70s or 60s doorbell, but it was a white noise machine.
Okay.
And he knew it was worth like $80 or whatever the hell it was, 80 Canadian or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, if we're talking strictly video games, then see that's the thing for me, right? Like I look for just video games and records. I look
and
for
stuff for
toys,
you and your kids too. Yeah.
But if I knew I could sell on eBay, that would open up a whole new world because I'm already hitting 80 sales on a Saturday, so I may as well really should be looking for other things. But I just don't know.
I've seen some of the stuff that you've passed on, and it's drove me nuts.
Oh, I could imagine.
Dude, that's you from all the stuff you left today. You could have bought your Panzu Dragon Saga or whatever, your little Samson. You could have bought that.
I know that, but where do I sell it?
Yeah.
Like I can only sell so much on Kijiji. It's already a nightmare with the video game stuff.
Yeah.
We really don't, other than maybe taking it to pawn shops here, but I don't know. I know because I hit so many sales, and I do feel one thing about me is though I like to move quick. Like I'm in and out. Like I don't like to fart around. I like to know, hey, do you got any video games? To go through my spiel.
I've watched you.
And then I'm out because I want to get to that next sale because I want to get as many sales in as I can. Right? It's a numbers game, so I don't spend as much time. But if I were able to sell on eBay or Amazon, I would definitely be looking at power tools, older electronics.
See, power tools would sell fine here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, power tools is something I would avoid on eBay because of the weight.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
sell those
small
on Letgo, Garage Sale, Kijiji, and Facebook Marketplace.
Right, and if I'm getting them cheap enough, then I should just pull the trigger and try some.
Absolutely.
Just with power tools, if it's battery powered, then you want to make sure the battery's not screwed because they do from sitting or being charged many times.
Yeah, I do pick up myself, but not. Like those Ryobi.
But especially if you're already buying. If you're already buying video games from them, dude, I mean, you should be bundling all that crap. You know what I mean? Right. Like, obviously, I know you're doing your bundling on your games. You're doing that great, but I'd be dumping that other stuff because a lot of that stuff, they don't see the value in it. Most people know the value in video games, right?
Not here.
Well,
you find?
I would say
I find it's more and more.
For one, 80%, I'd say solid 70% of the stuff I find was not out at the sale.
That's the difference.
That's the difference.
You ask in the right way.
Right.
Whereas every time I ask, they just say no.
Really?
I've even tried doing your naming every console, and people just seem annoyed.
There is a very fine line, and I've talked about that a few times, between you want to push, but not over that line of being annoying.
Yeah.
And I think I may have...
Well, you have to cross the line to know where the line is, too.
Right. Like, I think I can push that line without people getting annoyed by me. Maybe that's like a weird innate skill that I have. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it seems to work, right? Like, it seems to usually work for me. Rarely. I'll even say, like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, I'm annoying you right now. Like, I'll just call it out sometimes. But yeah, you wouldn't believe the times where, like, I get on the 8th thing that I mentioned, or I'll walk down the driveway and go, oh wait, I do have a GameCube back here somewhere. Like, it's crazy. I'll hit sales after people have been there, and asked, but just given that general, hey, do you have any video games? And they were like, no, walked away.
Yeah. And
then I'll go up and be like, hey, I'm looking for Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, and just keep going. And you wouldn't believe how many times that's worked for me.
Well, and I'll agree with that because a lot of times I think what people think when you ask for video games, they're thinking what their kids are playing. Right. Like, no, we're not selling PS4 or Xbox. We don't have that. And then when you refresh their memory, like, no, I'm talking about that old junk that you have in the back of your closet, And
then even when you do remind them, like NES, Sega, PlayStation, they still don't think about portables unless you name them too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to really push it.
Quite often.
Yep.
Yeah, to me, those are always my favorite pickups. I get such a rush when I see them go into the house to bring out because they can bring out anything. And I mean, I mean, this guy one time, it's like he didn't have anything out there, and I asked him, and he comes out with this big box of Nintendo 64 stuff and sets it down in front of me, and it was like every premium title you can get other than like the super rare ones, but it was all the Mario parties and Zeldas and just all I'm seeing is like 30, 40, 50, 50, 50, like everything was just gold. And I'm like,
That
all right.
Fight Club of the room.
Yeah. And so then I'm just like, well, how much do you want for this? He goes, just give me $10. You know what I mean? I'm just like, all right, man. Like, that was the best way to start the day. Like,
I love the way,
three...
like 2 months ago, you told about the SNES games in the bag, and then you said about NES games in the bag, and the girl just brought out the bag and set it down by the sound of the games like hitting each other in the bag. He's like, knew in his head that's SNES, and then the next time it was NES.
I could see that.
Yeah, just by the hollow. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was just I knew exactly what she had. And what was funny is that was another yard sale. There was nothing out, and when I asked her if she had any video games, she said no. And then I just started chatting with her, and I'm like, you don't have nothing older, like what about the stuff that you would have played, like stuff that we would have played, and like putting it like that. She goes, oh, you mean like an old Nintendo? I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
So
hold on.
How do you typically let them set the price, or do you kind of feel it out? That's kind of like
I do it both ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll ask. You know what? Sometimes it really just feels on it because I'm not scared about throwing out a number. I know a lot of people get intimidated by that, but to me, I like to ask them what they're thinking because they might say like that guy $10.
Exactly.
But when they ask me for a number, then I usually give them a warm up before I even say the number. I'd be like, okay, look, I don't really know, so I'm just gonna throw a number out and let me know what you think, and then I'll just say, right, I'll prime them up. But I always do it with a smile. I never do it aggressively, and then I'll hit them. And like this lady brought out this really nice GameCube lot. It was beautiful. I mean, a silver GameCube, like all really good titles, like all really nice titles. And she just asked me like, what? And I'm thinking, $20 isn't gonna sound right. That's what a lot of times where you say you hit them with 20. Now it's a little different in Canada, but in America, or at least where I'm at, 20 sounds insulting. So I like to say 25 because 25 is not going to make a difference to me, but it sounds better. I don't know why, but I know why, because it's more money, but 25 just sounds, it's like half of 50. You know what I mean? Where $20 is like,
I can see that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I told her 25 and she's like, I was thinking 40, but how about we meet in the middle at 30? And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's not the middle, but okay. You know what I mean? Like, sure. And that was just about just throwing out the first offer. And I didn't mind because when I asked her how much she wanted, she didn't know what to say. So sometimes you just got to help them, you know?
See, I want to help them, but I don't want to go too high.
Well,
I don't want to go too low either, but sometimes going too low is terrible.
You know what? And I've made that mistake in the past. I mean, it's been a while, but I made the mistake in the past by hitting them too low, and then they just said, "You know what? I'm just going to keep it."
Yep, that's happened
to me
one time in Forest Heights. Box of NES stuff, probably 10 NES games, some decent titles, and I think I said I can offer you $20, and she's just like no, and walked away with them and brought them inside. And
so
I was
people
like, well,
like
what
that.
Do you want? But that rarely happens.
People like that, usually... I think, are the people that are like seen a listing on on Facebook that's $150 for the console only.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, no, this is worth $200 at least.
Yeah. Now, do you ever how do I say this? Devalue whatever it is? Like, do you with NES games, or if there's a system for sure with the NES, I'll mention, like I'm not sure if this, I'm not sure if it's going to work. So I'll say something like, I'm taking a bit of a chance because I'm not sure if this all works.
Especially if they say they haven't played it forever.
Right.
Then I'll definitely mention that.
And I'll even say, when's the last time you had it hooked up? I'm not sure. I'm taking a bit of a chance here because I don't know if it works. And then I'll hit them with I can offer you. And it's just like, it's body language too, right? Like, it's like, I can offer you $20 for it. And I'll use
cash in hand.
Yeah, so cash in face.
Yeah, I always like to show the money. The money is always a good thing to show them, because a lot of times they're just like, and then you just like, no, like even if they say no, just be like, oh, like you just, if you're friendly, it doesn't come off bad. It just depends on your attitude.
Yeah,
but
I
like
forgot
saying about.
Go ahead, sir.
No, just like what you were saying about the consoles, I really take that approach with disc-based consoles, and I'm actually being sincere. I'm not trying to talk it down. Like, I have, especially if it's like a PS2, if it's a fat, I don't even include that in the deal. I'll just tell them like I'll take it, but I mean the odds are it's not going to work. And
I'm like that with NES now. I'm not paying more than $10 for an NES anymore because I get so many that I just can't get to work now.
Yeah.
Even after cleaning the pins. So
Jesus. See, I've bought connectors. I found a good deal on them on Amazon a while ago for $12 shipped.
Okay, 12. That's what I want to pay, 10 to 12. But even then, I've had some that like I still can't get to work. I've got 10 at home right now. I can't get to work.
Oh my god.
Well, you got to be careful with.
See, I like tinkering with that stuff, but 10 of them is too many.
We might be able to work something out here. I tried boiling pins for the first time like a couple months ago. And there's still a couple. I won't resell one unless it's above a 6 out of 10. So it's got to work 6 out of 10 times. So you put the thing in.
Yeah.
Because then I've had once or twice somebody bring it back and go, this isn't working. It's the worst.
And you can still trade them into a store as long as they're willing to put the time into fixing it.
Right.
But then you got 10 of them. They're not going to want to take 10 broken ones.
Yeah.
All right.
I could go on all day about like
I was gonna say
garage sailing.
Yeah, garage sales. I forgot you had said you kept cash, different amounts in different pockets. You still do that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
20s, 10s.
Because I did that a couple times, and then I just with kids taking them garage selling, I just stopped.
Yeah, I keep 10s, 5s, and then 20s in the back pocket. And when somebody goes in to get something based on what they say they might have, I'll start in my head. So if they're like, yeah, we got a bunch of N64 stuff, so then I'll get. I don't always offer 20, but I'll get 40 ready in one hand or pocket, and then have another 20 ready just so I can pull it out. The last thing I want to do is flip through 6 20s and offer them one, right? Like I don't want to do that. I got a question. How many times have you asked for video games and someone said, oh yeah, we've got something inside, and they've come back with a box of VHS tapes?
I've heard that happen. I've never had it happen. I've had one lady mention it.
That happens a couple times a season to me, where I get like, oh, great, they got something. It's VHS. And I wait like 20 minutes sometimes. They're digging around their basement, and the lady comes back with a thing of VHS tapes. That happens several times.
Yeah, I have that a lot, but I mean, if there's horror VHS, I'm happy. You get older horror. 80s horror is some good money.
80s horror.
So that's one thing I'm going to look for this year, because Toy Rat, the local, kind of local store here, is heavy into VHS, and he's always showing people in there buying VHS tapes. I'm like, if I can buy these VHS tapes for a quarter to 50 cents and he'll give me $2 a pop, I'll just bring them bins full of them.
Disney ones. I've heard Disney ones sell.
Right.
Nah. Hey,
I've heard
okay,
that
don't.
But I
don't get caught up into the. Don't get caught up in that Disney diamond hype and all that. There are some, but they're not. There's not ones worth $10,000 and all that. You'll see those little Facebook do you know this is worth?
Yeah.
It's not. But horror tapes are very collectible. Also, 80s action is very collectible.
Yeah.
So if you, but like obviously like something like Commando is going to be pretty common, but like I'm talking like some of the harder to find. There's some harder to find stuff. You're really looking for out of print tapes.
Like B movies.
Yep.
Really weird stuff. I would assume would do well.
I'm guessing the Toxic Avengers, that brand, what the company is that made the Toxic Avengers?
Chroma.
Yeah. Because I had heard that they had a lot of B movie horror. Type stuff.
I'm definitely going to grab that stuff this year for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I would never leave that stuff behind. You'll make some good money on that. And they're definitely good for trading. And if you get the right one, I'll trade you. You know what I mean? So there's certain ones I'm down for, so we can work something out.
You collect some VHS. So this 80s horror stuff, a lot of it, is it stuff that never made it to DVD?
Some of it's out of print, never made it to DVD. And then some of it, when it did make it to DVD, was very low grade transfers. Yeah. But also the other concept behind it too is kind of like, I mean, I'm sure you're from the right age that you went to these rental stores, right?
Yeah.
When you were a kid. And there's just something about the horror movie section that was like everybody walked through it. They always had these really big boxes, or there was always like this really cool artwork on them. So it's very nostalgic. You know
what it is for me? It was ninja movies. I
was
really obsessed with
exactly.
Ninja I got movies. I rented them all.
I watched a lot of them.
Yep. I have a nice little ninja collection too. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I never understood the whole VHS collecting thing myself, but if you're into horror, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
But think of it this way: there's a
Right.
guy out there who's like, "Why have a vinyl record when you can have a
Yes.
digital download
Yep.
or a CD?" So it's just kind of the same thing. I mean, I get it; the quality isn't as good, but there's
Yeah.
something that's quaint about it. You know what I mean? Like, I preferably if a new movie, you want Blu-ray or you want,
Yeah.
HD DVD or whatever, whatever the most.
You don't want the latest Star Wars on VHS?
Well, that's the only way you're gonna get the original cut.
Yeah.
I know that.
Right.
I need the
But,
latest one. You can't all the special.
No, not the latest one, right? But the original ones, you're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
gonna get them unless you have the laser disc. There are some laser discs that have the original version too, but or 8mm film if you really want to get it in.
Collects a lot of out of print DVDs. He'll go into Goodwills and book offs, and he'll
Yes,
find them.
Matt was telling me that.
Okay.
I found that weird Gummo movie. Have you ever heard of Gummo?
No.
Some obscure DVD.
Not Gumbo. Gummo.
Gummo.
Okay.
I haven't watched it yet. It's supposed to be pretty twisted, but
okay.
Yeah, I scored on a anime Blu-ray, and I just went to this yard sale, and this, I felt bad when I come up. This kid was just like, "Will you buy something?" And I'm just like,
I
and
always
all
feel
this
bad with those. Yeah.
all the stuff was like really dirty and everything, and I was like, how much do you want for this? And he had like Grand Theft Auto, but it was wrecked, right? I was just like, I'll just buy it. And he's like, just $1 for everything, and he hands me the stack of stuff, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, well, there's 5 items here. Here's $5 or $4, whatever it was. So I gave it to him, and I'm driving home, and I get home, and one of them was a Blu-ray. It's like, oh, it's anime. I don't like it. I mean, I'm not a fan. I mean, it's okay. I get it, but I'm just not into it.
really into it either.
Yeah, and I look it up, and I sold it.
My thing, but
I sold it for like $130. I was like, I didn't realize a Blu-ray would be worth more than its value, its retail value. You know what I mean? Like, wow, it was
the only reason I could think.
It is. That's exactly what it was. It was just some out of print group. I'm like, man, I felt bad.
Let me know if you find a site to look up out of print DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff.
Well, just go to eBay and type in Blu-ray, anime Blu-ray, or whatever, and then just go to the highest selling one. Just click completed sales and highest, and then you'll get an idea of what you should be looking for.
and the selling within Canada on eBay has been working well for you?
It's been all right. I sell mostly to like Vancouver and where the hell else?
So what would it?
All the remote places, basically, and or big cities even. Like Ottawa seems to be good selling. Like I think their prices are really high.
So what would it cost to ship like a shoebox? Do they have flat rate at all in Canada?
No, we're screwed for everything.
Every time I ship something, they go with a little stupid tape measure.
So on eBay, you can enter in all those numbers and say the person pays whatever it costs to ship.
Right. Okay.
And they'll calculate it for the person. And then you can also go to Canada Post and get a free business account, and that gets you a discount on shipping.
Maybe I should try this out this year and with a little bit of your guidance.
Yeah, at least start with something like something would sell well on eBay, like a high dollar item you got or something like that, and then just ship it with tracking, and you'll be fine.
I've been thinking about selling my Neo Geo games recently because I just got that cart, and some of them are worth quite a bit of money.
Yeah, no shit.
Well, I saw you trading in a lot to a game store, and I cringe. I just thinking like, there's no way you couldn't make more, even if you took a big hit on the shipping, it had to be more than what you traded in.
Yeah, but you got to know
the trade-in credit.
You got to know that if I did it, it was pretty good.
You got it cheap enough to make it.
Yeah, and they gave me a good enough deal. I'm not sure which trade that was. I had a lot of stuff that was sitting around. Okay, so
it's a big box, and you came out with some I think it was Sega CD, or you came out with a couple of really nice. Yeah, you came out with some good stuff. There was or maybe some Saturn games or something. It was pretty high end shit that you got.
So that's all stuff that I have. I have one back room that's just like full of stuff that I'm selling, and that's stuff that had been to like 4 swaps and just wasn't selling.
So it was mostly common, like disc-based games. Was that? Because I remember seeing you had a couple bins of that.
Some NES stuff.
Okay.
I did use. Yeah, there was a lot of disc stuff because at one point I was considering opening a store.
Yes,
and I was buying like.
You mean Andrew was buying every $1 game he could find for you?
Some. Twice.
I just remember one time you're like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, well, there was an issue because it was all just like scratched and stuff. I'm like, I can't do anything with these.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, he was looking for me because whatever. I'm like, whatever you're gonna leave there, I'll take.
Gotcha.
Right. So that only happened twice. But anyways, yeah. So I had all this PS3, PS2, original Xbox stuff that I traded in.
So you don't have a resurfacer?
No.
Okay. I bought a JFJ Easy Pro off Amazon.
And how's that been?
It's been fine. I don't use it enough, but I do have a bin full of discs I need to resurface.
Yeah, I thought about it.
The materials for it are kind of expensive.
Right. And Games Exchange apparently does $1 a disc.
Games Exchange does? Oh.
So like
interesting.
If there's anything, but then the problem
you can
is
go to Beat Goes On and they'll do it for free if you have one or two. They'll buff them. They don't resurface, they buff.
Yeah, so I worry because like one of my games I need that's pretty scratched is Cannon Spike on the Dreamcast. Okay. I'm like, what if they fuck it up and break it? Right?
Yeah.
Like that worries me a bit.
Yep. So I would almost take it to Beat Goes On and see, like, say this is worth some money. Do you mind trying to buff it? Because their buffing is literally just like a buffing wheel where it doesn't take any real plastic away. It kind of smooths it out with heat.
Yeah, I
guess almost trust that more than resurfacing. That's all.
I've never needed it. I guess if I did eBay, I probably would. But anything that I'm selling to a store is scratched to the point where they'll just buff it themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's very few times I have stuff that's like really, really bad.
So what percentage of the stuff you pick up at garage sales are you actually taking to stores? Because I think it was a time where you seem to be doing it a lot.
No, I go in spurts, so I get fed up with So I was just like, I want this stuff out of here. I just want it gone. And they had a couple games I wanted, so it's stuff that wasn't selling on Kijiji, wasn't selling at swaps.
Yep.
I just took it in. So I would say twice a year, maybe I'll take a bunch of stuff. I just took a bunch of stuff in tonight. And they bought a bunch of stuff that like the people wouldn't buy from that first round.
Yeah,
so it's stuff that like I was ready to donate, and I got $500 credit for it.
Jesus.
I mean, there was some good stuff sprinkled in there that I had. Actually, stuff that needed resurfacing that other stores wouldn't take because they didn't want to resurface it.
Yeah.
Which I never got. Like a game like Champions of Norath, I think on the PS2, scratch not that bad, just a buff, but they turned it down. It's like I don't think it's like a $40 game or something like that.
It's just not worth their work, maybe. I don't know.
Get it, but they took it at this one, so I was pretty happy with that deal.
Yeah, one of our local game stores is under new ownership, and Charlie was just saying he had some good experience there.
Yeah, there's something nice about that. I might just take everything there.
Yeah.
And not, I mean, big stuff that I know will sell, I'll just sell on Kijiji. Or maybe I'll buy like half a table with somebody at a swap.
Yeah, Barry's coming up.
Yeah, the rest of the stuff, like I'm gonna pick up boxes of PS2 stuff and I'll just bring it straight to that store, right?
Yeah.
If I can buy, because I buy boxes of PS2 stuff with a system for $15 with like 10, 20 games, I'll just bring it all in there. If I can get 50 out of it, that's amazing.
All right, we're still on noteworthy pickup or purchase or sale. Charlie, do you have anything you can think of?
Yeah, that's really mine. Tonight, I just got a nice bundle of stuff. I got some Genesis stuff in that trade, and I never find Genesis stuff up here. I think I've found in the last 3 years of garage sales, maybe 10 Genesis games that I needed. Like I never come across it.
I almost don't either. Like I got all those Genesis games there and some that I sold. And that was like one bundle with a Genesis, an NES, a whole bunch of NES games, and a N60 Jungle Green N64, and then some games for that, all in one huge bundle. And that's like the biggest bunch of NES or Genesis stuff I've gotten.
Right. Yeah. It's just there doesn't seem to be a lot of Genesis stuff around here. So yeah, I got some Genesis stuff and I got a bunch of unlicensed NES stuff. I'm like kind of going for a complete NES set. I think I just said in one of my last videos, I think I'm going to make more of an effort to try and complete that. And I've even thought about like, doing a video series where I actually keep on a spreadsheet what I bought. And what I sold.
I was going to talk about that actually.
And just having like a running total and then using that total strictly on buying NES games.
I had a question for you later on about that. So I did a thing like that. I did a video, which I called Dollar to Baller because I wanted some clever title.
Yeah.
And I literally spent $1 at Goodwill.
Yeah.
I started out with a Xbox 360 wireless dongle, Wi-Fi dongle.
Yeah.
Bought it at Goodwill for $1 and got up to buying Mario RPG loose.
Okay.
For $50 or $40 from Colin Retro Gaming, actually, at Barry Game Exchange. He gave me a good deal.
So with the proceeds of the
all the way
dongle,
up. Yeah.
You use that to
buy something else.
Yeah.
To buy something else. To buy something else. And I made a video telling each thing I bought, how long I had it for, and then how much I sold it for.
Yeah, that's great. I was going to ask right at the beginning when you mentioned like the stigma of
sellers. Yeah.
Right. And that's the one thing why I haven't done that in the past.
Gotcha.
I've kept it kind of under wraps a little bit about how much I've sold stuff for. But I was gonna ask you guys because I feel like that stigma has gone away because back in the
or
day,
softened at least.
right? Back in when I started 8 or 9 years ago, you
were a dirty
like,
reseller,
dirty
right?
reseller.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And
Yeah,
like
that
see all
shit's
the comments
gone.
today, but like I find it. I think if you're not doing that, you've either got a lot of money or you're just doing it wrong, right?
Yeah,
like
that's the way I look at it too.
Yeah.
Anybody who's still clinging to that is either, like you said, either they're doing it wrong. I think they're just lying. I think they're doing it and just not saying.
Or
there
because
are some people that just like to pay whatever retail cost is, and they're fine with that.
Well, no, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who have this excess
Oh,
amount of
yeah.
games. They're not just giving them away, and I'm sorry, you're not going to find somebody to trade for your random copy of this random game that you need to find this specific person who just happens to have what you need. That's early stage collecting when you can really pull off a lot of those.
Store to do the same thing.
Well, right, but you know what I mean? Like, trades between people get harder and harder the further in you get, because they might, unless you just get, sometimes they match up. Like, I traded some guy some games. He didn't care about manuals. I needed the manuals. I had a bunch of games that he didn't have, and they weren't hard to find. He just didn't have them. But those situations aren't as easy the deeper you get in it. So, I mean, at some point, trading it into a store or selling them or going to a swap, that's just really what you got to do. Or because especially with like you, Charlie, I mean, you're buying big lots. You're not just going there just buying a game. When you're going to the yard sale, you're looking to try to scoop everything, which is the best way to go about it, because that's how you get the cheapest per unit. Because if you're going there just saying how much for this one game, and that's all you're buying, you're going to be getting $5 all day, and you're not going to get half as much stuff or a quarter of as much stuff. So you have to start scooping up the lots. And if people don't like it, then tough shit. It's like
sometimes I'll hear the argument that you should just buy what you need and leave the rest for someone else. Like the next person behind me is going to scoop that up and sell them on eBay anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the problem I see is the next 3 resellers behind me. Like, let's say Pete from Market Games. I always see him at garage sales, and if I miss it, he's going to pick it up and sell it in the store anyway.
Yeah.
Right. I have
nothing wrong with him. I like him, but he's a shark. He's good at it.
Oh yeah.
I left some Atari stuff just a couple of weeks ago at a swap meet. I didn't need it, and there really wasn't a lot of value in it. But I remember thinking, well, hopefully someone who, an Atari guy will walk up and he'll need it. It's a lot of common stuff, but a lot of good titles. Just there's not a lot of value in it. Not for what the guy was asking. I knew I could talk him down some, but I figured, you know what? What I already got from him was good. I bought some, Mario Kart, and I got some other cool stuff out from him. Like, I'm good with this stuff. Yeah, and then like the other day, I'm at one of the local game stores, and I kind of peek in the back room, and there's that shit sitting on the shelf. I could tell because it was like these little cart holders that they were all in, and there was 3 of them, and they were all sitting on that shelf, and I was like, see, that's the next guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you leave stuff behind for the next guy, that's who the next guy is. So if it's good enough to sell, then grab it. I mean, if they want to do the heavy lifting on that, I don't think they realize. I mean, even if they got it cheap, it's still so common.
And sometimes you'll just say, I've got enough stuff to sell right now. I don't need to grab it for that reason too, because there's other reasons. I don't have time to worry about that right now. Right.
Yeah. There just wasn't a lot in it for me, but if it was something of value, it wouldn't have got left behind. I would have took it for sure. But I don't worry about that guilt trip shit no more. That stuff is so like 2012. Like I remember on Instagram, man, like they would literally rage against you if they thought you were trying to sell games. And I would laugh. I'm just like, you guys, all right, so you won't sell a game, but when you want to do a trade, you want eBay value for eBay value, right? Because that's the respectable way of doing it. There's no difference. You know what I mean? There's no difference.
We're all paying eBay.
It's all the same. Sell your game and buy what you want. Then if of course, when you're with friends, those are different. But we're talking about kind of like acquaintances or strangers.
I was going to say, when Charlie asked about that too, that in the beginning of this conversation was about telling prices. And when I pick up stuff and post it on either or post it in Instagram, I usually do a picture of everything and put how much I paid for the total. And in a way, I have no problem telling how much I paid for each thing. The only time it comes to a problem is when someone I know wants to buy it off me. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the thing I wanted to make my money on, right?
Right.
So I feel bad telling exactly how much I paid for everything if a friend's gonna want to buy it off me.
Yeah, I really don't. That being said, I feel like I price stuff reasonably. You're the one that got up to hunt for that, and it, you know what I mean?
It's
like
true.
I'm up at 6, I'm out the door at 6:30, and we're garage selling by 6:45, looking for sales, you know, like you did the work to find it. But like, yeah, it is, you know, if someone knows you paid $1 and you're selling it for 40.
Exactly. Yeah. Then I feel a little bad.
Yeah.
And I want to give them the deal, and maybe I want to sell it to them for 20. And even that, if I'm going that low, why not just sell it for 5?
Yeah.
But
well, I think the problem sometimes is like where a couple awkward spots I've come in is somebody that I didn't really know decided to give me something for free. And that was up to them. Like I didn't ask for it, but they just gave it to me. And then I get this big lot of stuff and they're just like, "Ooh, I need that." And I'm like, "Well, I mean, this is one of those awkward situations now because I bought this lot to sell that, and I get it because now you feel like I owe you one, but had I known your gift came with a string, I wouldn't have done it." Now, if it's a friend, I feel good about that because then it's like, you know what, this is good, you know. And sometimes I've had to tell friends, I'm like, you know, man, I'm sorry, but this is actually what I need to make my money back.
And
if they're a friend, they understand, you know what I mean. But it does suck when it is an awkward situation when anytime I get a really big lot, my DMs they get hammered pretty hard. I'm getting tons of DMs like, what do you want? What do you want for this? What do you want for that? I'm just like, well, you know what I want. So what do you want? How you tell me what you're thinking? Because you already know what I'm thinking. I want max value. Sorry, man. Like we don't know each other that way.
I had a guy that I've done several deals with who lives in Guelph. I messaged him. I can't remember which way. Anyway, he said, "What else do you have for sale?" Because he's already got $70 worth of games. He's got what gonna buy off me, and I gave him a picture of everything, and I said, "I know your next question is gonna be how much I want for each one." I said, just assume it's going to be like price charting a little lower than that. So don't ask me prices. You already know I want as much as possible.
He hadn't come to pick that stuff up yet?
Yeah.
He had or hadn't?
He hadn't.
Okay.
But I've done several deals with him, but still.
See, whenever someone buys something from me from Kijiji, that I'll say I have more games, but I won't show them until that deal's done. So I'll get the money in transaction and be like, oh, here's this stuff. They'll give me the money. Then I'll go inside and get the bin and bring it out. Because what happens is they're like, oh, actually, I don't want this stuff. Or they'll be like, will you throw you know what I mean? I want to get that first transaction out of the way. And then I bring out the bin of stuff. And that's one tactic that I need to use more and that really works for me is when I do sell something like a console or some games, like say for the N64, I'll have a bunch of my other stuff and I'll mention before they come, hey, I've got a bunch of other games if you want to bring some more money. Yeah. And then I'll bring them out. It's almost like an upsell. Yeah. So that's worked out well for me too. Yeah.
I was actually going to just talk about an upsell with my next thing, but with that guy, I know him well enough. Okay. I've done like 5 or 6 deals with him. Yeah. So, and he's already bought like $200 worth of stuff off me easily. So I'm already giving him a deal. And if he wanted more stuff, I'm fine with giving a deal. And with some of the stuff that I have, or pretty much all the games I have now, I just kind of want them gone. Yeah. I don't want to sell them at game store prices because they're all the $15 to $40 games basically. Yeah. Where it's like, if I'm taking a game store's price, that's half of it. Whereas if I sell it to someone for $5 less than what it's worth, then it's, you know, better. Yeah. So that's the way I've been trying to do those last like stack of like 20 to 30 games or so. The other thing I was going to say was upsell was actually a guy came to my door to buy the most random thing, but I agreed to sell a bunch of things for a coworker of mine, and she said, how much of a cut do you want? I'm like, oh, that's nice. I wasn't expecting that, but she said she researched it, and this going rate for selling stuff for people on eBay is 30%. So I'll give you 30% of whatever you sell. I'm like, sounds great to me. And she's been giving me stuff, like she's a gamer and she keeps her stuff in really good condition, so she's just been giving me stuff that she has laying around for a while or as she finishes playing it. So one of the things she gave me was this random universal AV selector. It says GameCube, PlayStation, N64 on it. Okay. And it's styled like an original PS2, the fat PS2.
I've seen that.
So I posted it on Kijiji, The guy said he wanted to buy it. I put it for $5 because I just want it gone. It's an AV selector, right?
Mhm.
And then he comes here and gets the door and pays me for it and then says, "Do you have anything else for sale?" I'm like, "Yes, I do."
No,
so I
you-
bring up a stack of
okay.
games,
I was
just a
like,
stack.
you don't bring them down.
No, I
Yeah.
don't want everybody that goes on Kijiji to see everything down here. But I just took him or took a stack up to him. He's like, "Oh my god!" So then he picked out 2 games and bought them.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure my neighbors think I'm a drug dealer because I've
Mine
always,
too.
I've always got young kids coming to the door.
my neighbor's a cop.
Oh yeah. I have brought the odd person because you'll get talking with people and I'll be like, and then I'll be like, oh, I gotta show you something. Like, I bring them down to the game. Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I've had that when people come down on TVs over here now. When I have people come down to show them a console works.
Yeah.
I know you had a TV right by your door for a while.
That's what I was doing, and now this year I'm gonna put one in the garage. Well, I can't do
I have
a
one in the
garage.
garage.
I
I
can't
have
do
one.
that now because I have my RC cars. I have a whole
Yeah, I
wall
noticed.
full of RC
Jesus
cars
Christ,
now.
dude.
So that's my new obsession.
I have one RC car. I got a Traxxas. Oh my god, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it's a Slash 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Converted. Before that, it was the like scale version, the crawler version of it.
Oh,
It was weird, but my brother bought it half converted, so I did the rest.
interesting.
Anyway, I have that and an RC boat, and then quadcopters.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so much
Anyway,
fun, man. I love
yeah, I
RC
know.
cars.
I have a problem too. I keep buying stuff for my DJI drone. I just bought the goggles.
So what drone do you have?
Spark.
Okay. Yeah, I have the first
Phantom.
Mavic.
Oh, you have Mavic. Okay.
I sold that.
Okay, you had the Phantom. Yeah.
Yeah, I should sell the Mavic. I don't use it enough.
I'll take it. Real cheap. Let's do a trade. Chris
Where
is
were
really
we?
entertained.
Where were we?
No, it's good.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break.
Hey everyone, it's Josh, also known as Frantic from the Frantic Thoughts podcast. I just wanted to take a moment to chat about one of my favorite monthly podcasts, the Retro Pixel Podcast. Once a month, James, also known as RetroPixel, talks about classic and retro gaming, movies and TV show reviews, and other highly entertaining topics. You can get the show on iTunes, Podomatic, or wherever podcasts are found.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about that once you start again. But I never really understood. I guess it's because I find enough stuff. I never understood those people that pretended to find stuff. And
Oh,
there's someone locally.
now I really want to know.
Andrew.
Oh yeah, I know him.
Did you ever notice anything suspect about his Instagram?
I don't
'Cause
know.
he's not on anymore, and Matt asked him because.
Really.
So one time
I
he
didn't realize. So he used to work with my brother-in-law.
Okay.
They used to work together.
So one time he posted a find at 6:30 in the morning. Garage sale
Okay.
find. Just found this Outrun 2 on the Xbox, I think it
Yeah,
was.
pretty coast to coast.
Pretty decent find.
Yeah, Outrun
At
2006.
6:30. I don't
It's
think I've
pretty
ever
early.
picked anything up at 6:30.
Yeah.
And then he was done after that. If you find a game like that at 6:30, are you just
I'm
going,
not
that's
quitting.
it, I'm
Yeah.
going? No, like that doesn't happen. And that's
Yeah.
the first time I was like, this is
Huh.
not, this is weird. And I think people started calling him out, and I think he got off of.
Interesting. He was
Yeah, there was
at Barry for
Yeah.
a while there. Him and a couple buddies.
Him
of
and that
his.
one buddy. Did you ever
Travis.
see them out garage selling?
Probably Travis.
They had no idea who Matt and I were, and I would see them like running to sales.
Dude was like
to
blonde
beat us.
hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother-in-law worked with both of them, so he could tell me whether they're.
I wasn't the
Legit
biggest.
or not.
I was not rooting for them to find stuff. I'll just.
I
say
got
that.
some good deals from Andrew.
He seems nice, but
Yeah.
when I would see them at garage sales, I was hoping that they didn't find jack shit. There's certain
It
people like I'm
happens. Yeah, it
happy when you
happens.
find something. I'm not happy when Andrew Lenny finds anything anymore because he's not in collecting anymore. He sold everything.
Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like so the guy who
I wasn't happy when he found anything because I tried to do a trade with him once.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, my collection's at my parents' house. I'll get back to you."
oh yeah
Never heard from him again. And there was another thing too. There was Pete had asked me to record, or I said I'd record the the Waterloo Game Swap for them
Right.
once, and he said I'll just get Andrew to take the USB stick from you
okay
with the footage for us to use for advertising next year.
okay.
Never heard from Andrew.
Do you remember that episode where I lent him what did I lend him? I think it was a memory card because he was filming. Oh, how did that work? I lent him my camera or something to record his garage sales,
Okay.
and like I needed it back to film. I needed to do my YouTube video,
Yeah.
and like I forget I was going somewhere, and he like just didn't get it to me, and I was like, fucking in the
I think I
on the
remember
video
that,
I
yeah.
posted to YouTube.
Yeah.
I was so mad at him. I had to drive all the way to Waterloo to get this memory card.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that on right at the turn before his
Yeah,
house,
I
there was a
remember you
garage
saying you
sale.
found something.
There was a fantastic N64, like
Okay,
8
that's what it
games,
was.
like 4 houses down from his house. I'm like, yeah, that's karma, Andrew. I was so mad. I had to drive all the way up to Waterloo for this
Yeah,
memory
I remember
card
that.
that I lent him.
Yeah.
So
It's a memory card. Just go buy one.
Yeah, yeah. and like I had helped him so much with like, because he kept on going through these phases where he wanted to do YouTube.
Okay.
And like I went over and recorded a video for him. He never posted it.
Mm.
Anyways, but he found this is the guy. So he's been my main competition since I started. He's been the only guy that's like been there the whole time.
Okay.
He found a box of sealed TurboGrafx stuff.
Yeah, like
for $15
from a store. Like this old lady and old man who ran a store. They had it in the garage. Brand new
Probably
sealed,
30
old
sealed,
stock, new old stock.
30 sealed games. He was 2 streets over from me, and I remember just being furious because at first I was so mad that he found them because I knew he was going to sell them all.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I would have done the same thing. I'm not keeping sealed TurboGrafx
no,
games,
you just
right? Like
sell the sealed ones and buy
them
ones.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I would, yeah, it was tough though.
No, I didn't wish for him to find stuff because he was so difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
And I also followed him in a garage sales, like in an area one time.
Mm-hmm.
We just happened to be going the same way, and my brother-in-law was with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's just follow him and see what happens. And he is not good at garage sales.
No, he's not. Him and I had it out a bit this year because he's from Waterloo.
Yeah.
And I'm in Kitchener.
Yeah.
I've always respected that. And like, I don't go to Waterloo. I start in Kitchener. He knows where I start.
Mhm.
Like, why? If you know I'm in this area,
Yeah.
why would you come?
I don't know where
area?
you start, so I go wherever the hell I find sales.
Right. I don't make it to Waterloo, so if you don't want to see me garage selling,
I never find anything in Waterloo.
yeah. Well, Kitchener, I do better in Kitchener, but that's mainly because I don't have much experience doing Waterloo. Right.
Gotcha.
So
No, I never found anything in Waterloo. I don't think at all, even.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Waterloo's great.
But the area he found, I'm pretty sure he said the area he found was the TurboGrafx stuff was near Northfield.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
in that area there.
Yeah, that's kind of by close to where he lives.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. And I never find anything there. It's always old people.
Yeah. So the issue I had with him was I saw him in Kitchener, like in right close to my neighborhood where I start. He knows where I start.
Yeah.
And I saw him, and then I said, okay, like, because I'm always nice about it. I'm like, okay, we'll go somewhere else.
Well, you have a path, right? He knows that route or not?
I don't really. I start in Country Hill, and now we're getting specific. Country Hills, Activa.
Okay. Yeah, Activa's always
Hill,
good.
Forest Hill, Forest Heights, a little bit of Beechwood, and then I usually cut over to Stanley Park. So I just stay in Kitchener.
Okay.
But anyways, I was like, okay, I'll get out of here. I'm going up this way. And then he saw me 2 hours later in an area that I didn't say I was going to, but I was like, I had covered that and gone somewhere else. And then I see him and his buddy like running the sales, and I don't know. He called me out and he's like, oh, you said you were going here. And I'm like, you're an idiot.
I already did that. It was 2 hours ago. All right. Chris is very entertained.
No, well, that's cool. I just don't know nothing about no Canadian Waterloo. That's good. There's someone else. No, but I had speaking of people who like to fake their finds. So there was this guy locally, right? And this was kind of like, there's always that adjustment period in the early stages where like you think, oh, especially just around like 2013 when people were really starting to get resentful of the prices going up. And so he used to, in the groups that we're in, he ran a group and he was like, nothing could be sold for more than $5. And people were just like, dude, you're full of shit. Nobody gives a fuck. You know what I mean? We're going to do whatever we want. And he would always make these videos with like, I found this for $5 and I told you if you look hard enough, you could find, and it was like Rule of Rose and all this shit. And he was just like, maybe you did. But I always kind of suspected he was full of shit. Right. I always suspect he was full of shit. And I never understood, like, so what? So if you paid up, you don't have to say what you pay for anything. I mean, there's people who buy brand new PS3 games or 4 games or, whatever the current system was for $60. So if this is something you want and that's the value, who cares? But so I did a trade on Instagram where I ended up getting an extra Power Glove and I didn't need it. But the whole point was that was the only way we can make this thing even. So I was going to sell the Power Glove locally and then then it would have been a good trade. So I listed it up, and this guy, his name was Albert, I think, and he's like, yeah, I really want it. I'm like, cool. And so we negotiated a price. He didn't want to pay what I was asking, but he had games. I was like, well, look, as long as it works out, I'll take these amount of games, and you give me this amount of cash. It was like $50 cash and like 6 games or something like that, right? Went, met him up, did the trade. About an hour later, this guy, his name is Tyrannius. I don't care to say his name because he's kind of a scumbag anyways. So he posts in this group that we're in, a separate group, not the one he ran, but this other group, all gloating. See, I told you guys, patience pays off. I just bought this power glove and I paid $20. I know some of you out there pay $80 or $100 and blah, blah, blah. And he's just going on and on about this. I was thinking to myself, man, that's a hell of a coincidence. He just happens to buy a power glove like an hour after I just sold one. So I kind of zoomed in on that picture, and what he didn't realize is that was the glove that I sold. And the reason I knew this is because it had $1 written on the thumb. Someone had wrote it with like just a regular ballpoint pen, but it was so deep in it I couldn't get it off. I scrubbed the shit out of it and it wouldn't come off. And he probably tried too, and it still didn't come off. And so I started asking, I was like, wow, man, that's really cool. So you got it for $20, huh? He goes, yeah. I was like, where'd you get it? He goes, oh, this guy, he listed it up on Craigslist or something. I was like, really? I was like, I just looked. He goes, oh, he must have took the ad down. I'm just like baiting him, like, see what he's gonna say. I was like, really? What did the guy look like? Oh, yeah. I was like, did he drive a red truck? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, oh, was his name Albert? And he's like, yeah. So I was like, man, that's a real big coincidence that you just happened to buy something I just sold to that guy for $50 plus, $35 worth of games. And he just, out of the kindness of his heart, sold it to you for $20, huh? He goes, I don't know, man, but that's what happened. And I'm just like, yeah, sure, that's what happened. So you lying motherfucker, you paid $100 for it. I'm sure that's why the guy wanted to make the deal, because he knew he already had a seller or a buyer. Yeah, I mean, he was hot for it too. Oh yeah, he had it sold within an hour. So
I guess it's so different for me because we find stuff, but there's plenty of people out there that don't, right? Yeah. And I've gotten a bit of hot water before for saying, like, do you think we live in some sort of magical garage sale land? Because
so the area we live in, I find, like, for example, this is not related, but it is. Look at the number of Tesla cars that we see in our area. That's higher than I think most towns around here are.
Okay.
And I think it's the tech-centric area we're in, the university, the high-tech companies, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that helps bring in the type of people who buy games or who used to play games.
The problem with that theory
or that's my own self projecting on what I see.
The problem with that is, in order to own those games, those people would have had to have lived here in the 80s and 90s before it was a tech
That's true.
area, right?
Yeah, it was still university, but that was more of engineering.
Yeah, so I don't think there's a correlation to tech.
But they could have moved here, but then that's different. Because like I wasn't born here.
But how much stuff do you find in the stuff that I find is typically a lot of times in older homes where,
I've always thought about that and tried to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no formula, right? Like you can't go, oh, this is a rich neighborhood, they're going to have stuff. It doesn't work like that.
No.
Yeah. Or even this is a rich neighborhood, they'll let it go cheap. That doesn't always happen either. Usually it's often the opposite.
Right. So there really is no formula there. Now, that being said, like I've said, hey, you can find, if you get out there and you ask properly, and I've said before, I'm confident that I can find video games anywhere with a similar population. Like I'm not saying I can go to a town of 500 people and find stuff all the time. But I don't think that our area's any different from.
I would love to experiment with that by going to Guelph or somewhere, like a town that's fairly close. Right. I don't think it's as big as KW, but still, especially with like Kitchener or Cambridge attached.
But I've always said Burlington would be a good case study.
Yeah.
But then the problem is I don't know Burlington, right? So part of the reason why I do so well here is because I know the area, and I don't even really use Kijiji anymore. I don't plot my route much anymore. Yeah. I just go and I ask, and if someone's been in the area, so now that's another thing, right? Like, has anybody else, almost every sale, has anybody else been here asking for games?
And people usually volunteer. As soon as you ask, they'll usually say, "You're the third person to ask today," so you don't even have
if they haven't said that already. Which everybody. I hate this. Everybody's been asking for video games today. Really, everybody? Like,
you
there
mean
could
like
be more than two people that have asked for video games?
Out of 30
Let's be
people.
honest. Yeah, everybody.
I typically like to. What I like for houses, I typically like to buy from houses that have been built in the 70s or the 80s, early 80s. And because that's usually the kind of stuff I'm looking for, Nintendo, Super Nintendo. And if for whatever reason, it seems like I pull more of that kind of stuff out of their garages and, in their sheds and everything. Because a lot of that, their kids are about my age.
Right?
Well, right. Their kids are my age. So they're going to have similar interests if they're still the original tenants. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I like those neighborhoods. There's particular neighborhoods in Fresno where I specifically go there because of the houses, the age of the houses. And that is typically where I get a lot of my bigger finds came from, like the TV. It came from this place called Tarpey Village. And Tarpey Village was a little housing development that was built up in the 70s. And like all the rich little Clovis kids used to live there. Clovis is like our little sister town in Fresno. They used to live there in the 80s. It used to be one of those little trendy neighborhoods, Now it's kind of ran down because all those people moved to nicer neighborhoods. But there was a time where it was a nice ass and little community. But I know every time I pull stuff out of there, it's always the kind of stuff that I want. I don't get it every time, but I typically will score from that area at least 4 or 5 times a year, and I'll score good. You know what I mean? So I always
was thinking
here, at least, it's just as likely that the people from that house, when those kids moved out, they took it to their new house.
Yeah.
And I've bought what
I thought too. Like, let's say Laurelwood area.
Right. It all depends on whether those kids took it with them or left it with their parents.
Yeah.
Right. And here, there's really no. I have found
reason.
just as much, maybe even more, from like the kids who have taken it with them to their new house than I have the original parents. And then the problem you run into with the parents is, I've got to call and see if they'll let me sell this.
I've had that problem a lot.
Or that comes up a lot.
Come back next week. I've even had an old lady
give me your number.
Yeah.
You know what? With the give me the number is, I always try to circumvent around that. I'll give them the number, but I'll be like, can I call you? Do you mind if I come back by? And, the thing is trying to remember where you went. You have to make a mental note. If it's worth it, I'll come back. I
put a calendar appointment in my calendar for the next week with the address.
Yeah, that's pretty good organized. When they hit me with the let me ask the kid thing, I'll try to change the subject a little bit, start talking about something else, and then I'll circle back to it. I'm like, how long you been holding this stuff for them? They don't want this. Like, I'll try that angle, and it has worked. It doesn't always work, but that's an angle I'll go with. Is like, how long are you gonna store their crap? You know what I mean? Like,
what I do is, hey, would you be willing to bring it out so I can take a look at it, and then you can present the offer to them? That's typically what I'll do, because once I can get my hands on it and take a look, and then well,
you at least know what you have, whether it's worth your time or not.
Right, and it typically leads to me paying more, because when they present that offer to the person, I don't want them to say, this guy's offering you $20. It's going to cost me more. But if I can get my eyes on it and be like, hey, I can give you this much, maybe you can give them a call and see if they're willing to sell it for that. And that's typically what works for me. Or I'll get their number. I'll be like, hey, can I put your number in my phone? Is it okay if I call you in like a week?
Yeah.
But rarely. I think I've had one call back where I gave somebody my number once in like 8 years of garage selling. One time.
I had a big one early this year, and it was huge. I mean, you might have saw the post, but it was one of the bigger callbacks I've ever had. I mean, it was just tons and tons of stuff. This guy was breaking out tubs, and I had to negotiate pretty hard with him because he was kind of stuck on his number. And I'm like, I'm doing the math. I'm like, we're not that far apart, but I have to get it at this. And we kind of went back and forth. And then I started in on his wife, because his wife was standing there. I was like, you really going to let him pass up the sale? And, like goofing around with her. And she's like, just do it, and he's like, all right, anyways, I got him to come back around. I'm just like, I can't pay $200 for it, because I don't know if half this shit works. The consoles, like, if all the consoles work, I'm golden. If none of them work, I'm chasing it. You know what I mean? Like, I might break even and get to keep a couple of cool items. Like, one of them was a Nintendo Z bag, and it was the cleanest one I've ever seen. And
it's the Z bag, those blue ones with the
Okay.
Yeah.
I found several of those. I got rid of them
those
all.
yeah, you're regretting that, huh? You didn't keep one?
No,
I think they've gone up in value.
I think I found 4 of them over the years. 2 were full SNES, and I'm trying to remember the story because I remember it was a good one. It was a 1 o'clock pickup in my own neighborhood.
In your own neighborhood.
And this lady had like a picnic table out, and I went up and she had like knickknacks, and I was like, "Hey, I'm looking for older video games." Yells up to her son. His son's up there. Comes down with these 2 bags, and they were her husband's. And it was surprisingly easy to get it from. I think I paid $40 for the 2 bags, but that they had the blue bag with I think there's a yellow zipper. Yeah, I didn't know what I would do.
I know
with them.
of them, but I've never seen them myself.
Yeah, I sold them. I think I sold them for like $20. I don't know
good.
what they go for, but
I mean, you could probably. I mean, if they're in good condition, you can get 35, 40 American. If they're in good, I mean, even beat up, you can get $20 easily, $25. But I mean, you're right. What do you do with them? But what do you do with a lot of this crap we get? Like,
yeah, I just don't know how. That's what I mean. Like, I don't know how you display
a bag
that.
would be hard to display. Like, you need to fill it with packing stuff so
Right.
it looks the right size.
but no, you just leave a Nintendo in it.
Yeah,
Come
but
on, dude.
I don't have any Nintendo other than the one on the shelf there.
Yeah, I don't keep other Nintendos.
Yeah, and even that one's just there because I got it with that big Nintendo lot.
You
I'm
mean
like,
everybody doesn't have 40 extra Nintendos?
No, that's only you. And how many toaster Nintendos do you, or how many top loaders do you have?
10.
I've still never seen one of those in the wild.
Me neither. Yeah.
Barely. Seen one.
If I don't see 1 to 2 a year, something's wrong.
I haven't even seen a dog.
No, I saw
Except
Dog
in
with the last
stores.
swap. So I wonder if that's a Canadian thing. Like, I wonder maybe the
I
top
know.
loaders weren't really that much of a thing in stores.
They might have mostly been in the States. That's possible.
I know NES was sold by Mattel here, right? So that would make sense.
Yeah, but Mattel might not have distributed it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't see them. I don't see many of the SNES versions either.
Yeah.
the
I spend more
I
though.
haven't-
Kijiji, I mean.
Like, I don't own either. I don't have.
Yeah.
I don't have.
You know what? And I've actually come across more top loaders than Super Nintendo, the mini Super Nintendos. Like, I've seen more top loaders than those.
And I've
But-
definitely seen the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've owned like 13 total, but I've given a few away and sold a few and traded a few. But yeah,
I'm just picturing your
I got
picture
one-
of NES's.
yeah, I got one right now being.
It's like
Yeah.
Gotham, but this guy, or not Gotham, KB Vintage,
Oh yeah.
where he had an entire like room full of NESs.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, well, that is ridiculous. I mean, that's stupid. Who would do something stupid like that?
There's a game store owner here. He's kind of a bit of a klepto.
I'm joking. I'm being sarcastic. I
Yeah.
would do that, but
Look,
I just
look at
haven't
the wall
got there
behind
yet.
you, that shelf.
Yeah, that's Photoshop. That's not real. That's not real.
Screen.
That's good. That's good.
Hey, so let's talk about your Dreamcast kiosk. You had a pretty good pickup. I know it wasn't like recent, but that was one of your bigger pickups recently. What's the
Right,
story
so-
behind that?
So I found a really good GI Joe lot. I think last year or the year before that, for $15. I just bought it. My boys were there. I was like, oh, because I love still playing GI Joes with my boys. Bunch of vehicles I saw in a box and a bag tied up, 2 Zares bags. $15 it said on it. So I was like, oh, great, we'll play with these. So I got it home and it was like 80% complete and stuff was in really good shape. The cards had been cut out.
Oh.
So those were there. A lot of the weapons were there. So I knew like there was a couple like original version 1 Snake Eyes in there. Like, I think they go for like $50 or $60.
Yeah.
So I had this stuff and I didn't know what to do with it. I really
Wished you had eBay.
No, I really wanted a G.I. Joe collection.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like I was psyched because I was like, oh my God, I love G.I. Joe so much. And like I had this instant collection of like stuff I loved as a kid, but just could never afford to buy. And then I put it in bins and it sat there and I wasn't using it because
Well, you don't want the boys to play with it.
it was
it's
too nice for them to play with.
Yeah.
Now we have all these other G.I. Joes that we play with.
Like,
other ones that I picked up, fake ones,
newer
here and
ones or
there.
whatever too.
And they're totally fine with that. So I just didn't really know what to do with them. I thought about maybe putting up some shelves and displaying them all. And they were just sitting there and I wasn't using them. And the Dreamcast kiosk is something that's been like one of my holy grails for years. I've wanted one for
Well, you said Dreamcast was one of your favorite consoles, if not your
yeah,
favorite.
yeah, right. I think it's the Switch is Getting close. I love my Switch.
I do too.
That's just recency biased.
Right, I think so. So the kiosk, and then I had heard that like kiosks had shot up to like $1,200 here in Canada. So I was like, okay, that's never gonna happen, right? Then I saw Toy Rat, who the VHS, he's got out the VHS stuff and vinyl and
He's
everything.
a decent store. I didn't love the store when I went there, or the experience of being there.
Yeah.
It was just weird. There was like a bunch of kids, like his kid and all his friends in the room hanging out, watching us on cameras as we're shopping. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, it's a little strange. He's a little different, and not a lot of people like him. He's always been fine to me. He's got this really crazy memory. He can remember like what you were in there looking for.
Oh.
Remember me from like 8 years
That's
ago.
helpful,
What I
though,
came
for
in
him.
for, the day I came in. It was insane.
Wow.
Anyway, so I brought him a bunch of stuff with the hopes of trading it in for that kiosk.
And you knew he was into G.I. Joes? I knew he was into wrestlers. I didn't know he was into G.I. Joes.
I saw he had some toys and stuff and anything 80s. So I had seen some G.I. Joes, but I didn't know if he
it's called Toy Rat. I guess it makes sense. Toys.
Yeah. I think the whole social media and YouTube thing helped a bit. I was with Matt and I wanted to make a video out of it. So that helped a little bit. But yeah, he came back. I'm trying to think. I don't think I traded him any games. I don't know. I had all kinds of stuff I traded him one of those Mario Kart Power Wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Remember those?
Yep.
So
the actual cart.
Credit for that, and I don't know. But anyways, I got it to the point where I think I out of pocket paid $400.
Okay.
Which I was comfortable with for that. So
with how cheap you got everything else, yeah.
Yeah, it had the controllers, the system in it, and it was in pretty good shape. So
you know what, with those kiosks, a lot of times just those controllers and the little, like the little arms connecting it to the kiosk will be $150, $200. So American.
People are trying to keep theirs, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the parts are sometimes worth more than the sum. You know what I mean? Like whole or whatever.
Dr. Smitty on Instagram, he picked up the kiosk, but it was missing that orange piece. That was
like around the
I'm like, oh man, you'll never find that. Good luck.
Right, and then when he does find it, he's gonna probably pay $300.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, if you ever find games or toys like that again, and you're not sure where to sell them, you can always try going to the Kitchener Collectibles Expo when it comes,
right,
and talk to the vendors there and see if they have anybody interested or if they want to buy it too.
Yeah.
If you're already thinking of selling to a store.
See, I just want to find a place to take my games where I feel like I'm going to get value that I'm happy with and be able to trade it for stuff I want. And I'd love to find a toy store that I just know that I can just take that and they're going to give me whatever the best deal that I can get.
Yeah.
Because toys, I don't want to be worrying about selling G.I. Joe lots on Kijiji. No, thank you.
Individually, one guy at a time.
No thanks, I don't want anything to do with that.
That does sound like a good long tail business on eBay though.
But even then,
where you
like
pick up a lot for $15 and sell one a week for $20.
It's like selling records though, because like condition comes into
that's true there. You guys were talking about that, weren't you, with was that G.I. Joe's? Yeah, it was G.I. Joe's. You and Single Banana were talking about that when he was on, right? G.I. Joe's condition.
Yeah, well, any kind of toy, but
collectors can be really picky with the condition.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's kind of like a lot of hobby stuff, but yeah, with the way he's talking, he probably had some really clean stuff. If the guy was going so far to hold the cards and things like that, you can get lucky in those lots. You know what I mean? It's like that was a good buy, man. Especially if it helped you get to something that you really wanted, and it looks great in your game room, dude.
Well, you already got some kiosks. It works great.
Yeah, I love that thing.
How big is your freaking basement, man? Is it like 3 times the size of this?
Probably more.
Okay, because it's hard to tell. Some of the pictures you take are wide angle, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell how big it is. But like this is the laundry room, and then over there is the furnace, and that's it.
Yeah, it's a big basement. Yeah, it's big. Like, I still have plenty of room too. Like I have open space still. And
you always do something like this. I was just talking to him about
I could go nuts, right? Like there's
build a shelf out.
I don't know if you see where my PS4 banner is that runs kind of the length of right when you come down the stairs.
I know it's hard to get bearings on.
Yeah, I've considered filling that wall to wall with shelves because I really kind of want to start collecting Blu-rays again. I had 1,000 DVDs.
Yeah.
And I sold most of them off and got out, but now I'm starting to realize like Netflix and stuff. Netflix is changing.
Temporary.
Where you used to be able to go find movies online anywhere, you can't anymore. So if like I want to watch this movie where I could rely on these services, I can't do that anymore. Like I can't. A lot of those movies I sold, I can't get anywhere else now.
Gotcha.
So now I think I started off with buying all the superhero Blu-rays, then Disney. It may just come down to me buying every Blu-ray
that you find for a decent price. Yeah.
If I can find it for under $1.
Yeah, at garage sales, why not?
And fill that wall. I'm running out of space.
You don't want to do DVDs again?
I don't think I would do DVD. I don't know. It depends.
Because if you got them cheap enough, you could even just do a churn where you buy them up every year and then sell them off to a store if they give you enough money.
That's the thing.
That depends on your
and then I
experience
start to
selling.
get into like, oh, you sold all those DVDs. I kept a lot of the ones that were hard to find. Like I had some Criterion Collection stuff.
That's what I think of as the stuff that isn't released on Blu-ray.
Yeah. I definitely held on to that stuff.
I mean, this is our DVDs there and there. That's it.
Yeah. Lots of kid stuff. But yeah, I've thought about, just because I enjoy going to garage sales and finding stuff.
Yeah.
And like if I can scratch that itch with some Blu-rays and DVDs as well, especially if it's that cheap, right?
I thought the DVDs as another revenue stream, like another way to get money when you find them cheap.
I don't think so.
No, okay. I wasn't sure what stores gave for them.
It's a nightmare. It sucks. Bringing those to like the Beat Goes On.
Well, Beat Goes On, if you have enough, they'll come to your house.
They'll pick through them.
Okay.
You don't want these, then you got to take it to another one.
That's true.
And I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm over that.
Yeah. All right. Let's actually jump on to the next part here. So what are you selling? Anything you're selling, eBay, Kijiji, anything like that, trade, next swap, anything like that you might have for sale? Anything interesting? Starting with me. So I don't have anything specifically interesting. I'm just selling off, like I said, those games that I've got that are from 15 to 40, even $60. Some of them are like, I got some sealed original Xbox games and a lot. It was pretty cool. But,
I've got some sealed stuff right now too.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that's perfect for eBay, right? I would assume.
Yep.
It is, but I'm not selling to the States, so it narrows my audience big time.
Yeah.
But
you know, the other thing, buddy, is I mean, you can sell stuff through Instagram. I mean, unless you're kind of worried about your brand or whatever, but you throw it up in your stories or something, man. You know what I mean? Like if you don't want to clutter your feed, just throw them up. Like if you got sealed stuff.
Yeah, I've sold.
An audience.
I'm selling Game Boys on Instagram.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too.
And it really, they have to take the risk of like they have to pay me before I ship it. I'm guessing that's pretty standard.
That's standard. That's not. That's totally standard.
But you already have a name, so people trust you. Because if you don't, they're going to shit talk.
They're going to shit talk you, and they'll screenshot, and they'll So they got some protection as well. You got more to lose.
From you more than they're going to trust buying from me, for example. Is what I mean.
Yeah, that's definitely something I can just put out there. That's a good idea actually.
Yeah, I mean, I have a buddy who's going for a full Xbox collection, and another buddy who's going for variants. He wanted the Canadian variants, so he's buying like 5 of them off me.
Of Xbox game?
The original Xbox, yeah.
Canadian variant?
Yeah.
I have one with French on them.
With French on them. NHL.
The French, that whole French thing, man. Do we really have to change? I said that with the Ninja Turtles. When I bought Michelangelo, it said Miguel Angel. Like, is this really necessary that we need a French translation of Michelangelo?
Oh my God. Yeah, so he's buying these 3 here because of the Canadian variants. So and ESPN NHL 2005, and it has French there. And then
that
Tony
was
Hawk
before they
Underground.
went full French.
I can't remember. I think
like
Tony
everything's
Hawk wasn't.
French.
And then I think those ones he just didn't have were a good enough copy, I think.
And they're all sealed.
And they're all sealed, yeah. I mean, that one's got a rip. And then this one's sealed, but the whole thing's ripping, but it's still got the seal on the end, right? And that's to somebody else. That's Jesus Kane. Do you know him? He's from Burlington, Brantford. I don't know, Brantford, I think. Yeah.
I came across a bunch of original Xbox games at one point that were from the Microsoft store and had these ridiculous stickers that you cannot get off.
I remember seeing those on somebody's channel. I forget who that was. Metal Jesus, or was that because he's in?
Oh yeah, you
Washington,
might be right. Yeah.
And then there's also, I think Casey. No, not Casey injured. Somebody else had it because he's in Washington too. Casey's game there.
That's one place that I'd like to be in terms of games hunting is up in the northeast or the northwest.
Northwest.
or like in California.
Yeah.
Because California, I feel like, is the mecca for arcade machines.
Well, this guy keeps getting Atari stuff too.
We have nothing here when it comes to arcade
He
machines.
got an Atari prototype cart, like not final cartridge,
Right.
while they're developing the game.
Yeah.
Just a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
You never find something like that here.
No. You don't really find anything too cool here.
Well, and then Metal Jesus, that friend of his that found the orange crystal original Xbox that was.
Well, the thing is if you're in the areas like, okay,
Yeah.
Metal Jesus, they're up there in Washington. Microsoft is based there. Nintendo's based there. Atari is, where Atari was based at. Well, yeah, but I mean, there's still a lot of people there who still got their crap, and that's less than a 3-hour drive from me. I mean, and I had a feeling I was going to find something there at some point. I just had to have the reason to go there. And, you start hunting those areas where, like, I mean, did you guys ever have any place that distributed up there, like Mattel? I mean, did they have a factory or?
Would have been Toronto, I bet, if anything, so an hour from here, but.
Yeah.
See, that's a place where I would go hunting. I would try to find some suburbs there. Like, if you're just on a whim, like, hey, you're going to go there for another reason, that would be a place because, you figure when that factory closed down or the warehouse closed down, a lot of that shit had to be liquidated somewhere. So there's people who probably have a lot of crap that's just sitting around. You could get lucky there. I mean, if you're looking for hot spots, that's where I always go.
The way I think about Toronto, though, is there's
like
so many sharks picking that area over. Because I went garage selling there once and found essentially nothing. I found a PS3 controller that was broken and I was able to fix it. And that's the only thing I found there. I mean, it was 50 cents, but still.
Yeah, but that's where talking it out of the house comes into
Mississauga,
play.
somewhere around Mississauga area.
Yeah, we have game companies in the area now.
Yeah.
But not really distributors.
No.
Like, we have Rockstar as a presence, EA, Ubisoft.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really help us now.
All right. So, Chris, anything you're selling that's interesting?
I'm selling a bunch of Nintendo powers. I just haven't listed them yet. Curtis came into a... What's that?
I said you already checked with Curtis.
Well, he has a little collection. It was his second... No, I didn't check with him. They were his.
Oh, okay.
A buddy of him gave him a lot of early issues, like 1 through 40 or something. And of course, I poached one really quickly because it was the retail copy, and I only had the subscriber copy. Yeah, so now I have both.
Nintendo Power variant.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the original copy was sent out to the first issue. If you were a subscriber, if you were in the Nintendo fan club, right, you used to get those, because before Nintendo Power, there was that Nintendo fan club. It was a real thin Nintendo Power. There's like about, I think there's like 6 or 7 issues of that, maybe a little more. But if you were a subscriber to that, you got the first issue for free, and it said sample copy on it. And then after that, of course, they had their subscriber / newsstand copy that actually had the price on it that said $3.95 or whatever, and it actually came with a few more pages too. Like I believe it was 4 more pages. But it's pretty neat. When I was looking at it, I was like, man, the color looks off on this. And so I set them side by side. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why. So they changed the color, the label. I mean, the cover. The colors changed a little bit. Of course, the
Size
free samples
or something, was it?
No, it's all the same. It's the same that way, but it's obviously
Instagram.
Right. Well, I mean, it's up on a shelf too. One could have been curved a little bit, but anyway. So I'm selling that and a few other items for him. Because initially I was just going to do it to help him out, but actually found it's something he needed. I'm not going to spoil it though, but
a pedal for a miracle piano.
No, that we already did that. I traded him that last.
I remember there was something about it. I couldn't remember if it was he didn't know there was a pedal. That was someone else, I think.
Yeah. Some people don't even realize there was a pedal to the Miracle Piano. I actually had 2 Miracle Pianos, and both of them were complete. One's in the box, one wasn't. So I was gonna sell it, and then we were sitting there talking, and he was telling me like that's the only thing he had never seen a pedal. He knew they existed, but he hadn't seen. And when you look them up on eBay, they're always thrashed.
Okay.
He thought it was gonna be big, but it's really like this little tiny. I mean, it's smaller than a mouse, or like this remote control here. It's very small, very thin. And we ended up working out a trade. So I was like, dude, come on. let's work this out. Because he had some stuff that he didn't need, and it worked out pretty good. But so yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I'm selling.
All right, cool. Charlie, anything you're selling of interest?
No, I kind of just sold. I had a few listings up on Kijiji, but
I keep meaning to go check your listings. I never remember. I saved your Kijiji profile.
oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had a Genesis up there. I sold an N64 recently. But yeah, I just took all that stuff tonight, some of it, the leftover stuff, and then the rest. Oh, I traded quite a bit of stuff at the golf swap too. That was a couple weekends ago.
Yep. I remember you guys did a video on that.
I had some NES stuff and Master System that I traded for a stack of NES stuff that I needed.
Yeah,
I actually got a really good deal on, so I was pretty happy with that. But no, nothing right now. Not until garage sale season kicks up, then I'll be in full swing of Kijiji ads.
Are you going to Barrie? April 7th, I think it is.
Okay, so
Matt wants to go. I saw that.
oh yeah, Matt always wants to go.
I saw you did that.
And SummerSlam is that day. And
That
I'm
doesn't
like,
matter.
or, yeah, not SummerSlam.
WrestleMania
Yes,
usually lines
WrestleMania.
up with it.
Yeah, so yeah, I think we're gonna go.
Wrestling will be there another time. You can just watch it the next day.
I'm like all pumped. I'm like we're gonna have like a little WrestleMania party.
You could do it one day later. It won't matter as long as no one spoils it on you.
I think we'll most likely go as long as we leave there by like I don't know 3. We should be fine.
It's no
So,
problem.
Yeah, because it has a fucking 2-hour pre-show, so yeah, you'll be fine. The main stuff won't be till late, especially you guys are an hour ahead or 4 hours ahead, so it'll
3 hours ahead.
3? Okay,
Yeah.
so
You're 5.
John was 4 hours ahead or whatever.
Somebody
right? So
was.
you guys are 3. Yeah, John. Well, the Low Sac or whatever the hell the name of that town
Yeah.
is.
Halifax area. We'll
Yeah.
just say that.
Who the hell names a town that? Come on.
Oh, is it
Like,
Low Sac?
Lower Saxville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like come on, man. Like, I mean, come on. Low Sac. What are you thinking? Was that like the
There's
retirement
a middle
community?
Sac too. Middle Saxville too.
Yeah, exactly. You got your retirement community. That's the low sack, because they're older. The sack for lower.
Is it
You got the
French?
middle sack,
I don't know.
middle age.
It's Nova Scotia. We'll just
Yeah.
All right. What the hell were we just talking about? I can't remember.
What we're
All
selling.
right. So
yeah.
nobody's selling nothing. Let's go to the next one.
That's kind of funny that we're not really. I don't know. I have the odd thing trickle out now that I'm actually posting eBay ads again, but that's about it. All right, tip corner. Any buying, selling tips? Anything that people do that annoy you or help out even, or where to find deals? Charlie.
Yeah, I've kind of blown through a lot of my tips when it comes to finding stuff.
Yeah, we've said lots already, but
Yeah, I really just rely on garage sales now. I don't do a whole lot of hunting at thrift stores, pawn shops. It's almost like I get that it's just scratched through the garage sale months of hunting for me.
yeah.
And then these months turn into cataloging, playing. I keep a specific shelf of like the stuff that I keep from that year's
Yeah, I
garage
remember.
sale, and it just I finally put it all away because I'll go through and like try the games out. I clean and test them all before they get on that shelf, and I enter them into my database. But then it's like a matter of transferring them and finding room, which is always fun. Yeah, I'm definitely at the point where I probably need to expand shelving somewhere. I still have room for shelves, but I'm out of like shelf room.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So, do you have a specific shelf you buy? By the way, are you standard? Like all your shelves are the same or anything?
No,
or
it's a mess because for the longest time you couldn't find anything good in Canada. And the first 2 shelves I bought were while I was in Florida at Best Buy and hauled them all the way back.
Oh my god.
They were those Atlantic something Atlantic.
They're on Amazon now. Amazon,
So they're about that size.
Atlantic
and they're
Elite.
super thin.
Yep.
So that's what I started with. And then I made some custom ones where it's a mix of
Chris is
wood
all about the custom.
and sheet metal, and then the wall is actually just the back, but they're really like
Okay.
low profile, so the game sticks out about an inch.
Yeah,
That's
I prefer. I hate shelves with wasted space, man.
Me
When
too.
You do deep shelves.
Yeah,
Because all you end up doing is just sticking a bunch of crap in front of it, and then it becomes cluttered.
Yeah, I know.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do have some bookcases still, but yeah, I know that's a pet peeve.
I got
of
that
mine,
one
too.
for free on Kijiji.
That's a good shelf.
It was literally like two blocks away.
Yeah,
I wish it was black,
I've seen
but-
these in smaller version. I think.
And then that's just something. Actually, that was in the house when I moved in, or my old apartment. It was in my old apartment when I moved in.
I have thought about paying and getting some proper shelving done. I don't plan on moving ever, and I don't plan on getting rid of my collection.
Yeah.
But I'm also very cheap.
I have a buddy who just made his own shelves. Actually, two of them now. One guy started it, and the other guy did the same thing. And he did video on how to do it too.
Yeah, I made my own with my dad, and I did a video on it. But you know what? It looks pretty.
It has no back to it. You use the wall as the back, and then you just basically do like a 2x2 or 2x4. I can't remember, 2x2 or 4x4. I can't remember. No, it's 2x2. 2x2, and then across another 2x2, and you set how high you need it depending on what type of game.
So my dad's was a sheet metal worker, and I used sheet metal strips that he custom So it's got a lip. It's like bent like that, basically. Okay. Yeah, it worked out really well. We spray painted it all black. Yeah, they turned out really well. I'm pretty happy with them. But I guess I'm thinking nicely done white. I would like everything in white.
Okay.
If I could.
Because it'll disappear with the wall kind of thing?
I don't know. I just kind of like that look.
Okay. Either black or white is what I picture.
I have right now it's kind of really kind of thrown together. Like I have those just crappy hardware store white shelves with those bracket things. I don't have nice floating shelves like that.
These floating shelves are all from garage sales.
Oh yeah.
Every single one of them.
That's a lot of them.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, I thought about it, getting somebody to create proper shelving, and the whole Instagram thing factors in because I see people's pictures. It's really nicely done and has that nice aesthetic where
yeah, it doesn't have to look that way, but if you do the shelving the way you want, you're gonna fit more in too, right?
Yeah.
Because right now it's a hodgepodge, then things aren't lining up, and
yeah. If I can do floor to ceiling, it's a whole bunch of wasted space, basically.
Yeah, but the stuff you have on top of your shelves now, you'll have to find somewhere to put then.
Right, that's true.
But you could make custom shelves.
I would have to bring somebody in and totally go through and design it, and
then you're talking 20 grand or something ridiculous.
Yeah. Cost me a couple garage sale seasons.
Yeah, no doubt. I was gonna anyway. Okay, we're done we're on tips. We're on me now. So a tip that's not really the tip we normally give. I noticed, and Chris noticed too, I think, that eBay was flipping your buy it now listings to have best offer on them as well. And just
right, and they're doing it with it.
One of mine.
Okay, so now when you're listing, especially if you're in mobile, I can't really talk too much about desktop because I don't usually post with the desktop. Now I have to find myself going in and fixing it with the desktop. But they're in the mobile app. They've removed a lot of options because they think they streamlined it, but in reality, all they've done is added more steps for the seller. Yeah. So the immediate purchase isn't on the app no more. Like immediate payment required. Now you have to go to the website to click on that. They're defaulting to auction, so you have to you're still on the screen, but it's already pulling up to an auction and a suggested price. Yeah. So now you got to click on buy it now, and then that's already started with a suggested price. So you got to erase that, type in what you want,
and then best offers checked with a.
It's already defaulted best offer. There's also even this other stupid thing like this easy pricing where they start to reduce the price for you. Oh God. That one isn't being defaulted on, but if you're not paying attention. At that very last step, they ask you, hey, do you want to use this? If you happen to click yes, each week goes by, they're going to lower it $1. Well, it goes by a percentage. So if you got a $100 item, they might be lowering it by $3 once a week. So you got to make sure that's off. And so now you've gotten everything right? You've listed everything right. You've gone through, because you're taking multiple steps now. Now you can't just do it all in the app no more. The shipping is screwy. I mean, if you really want to fine tune shipping, the shipping details, or like the item, the condition details. You used to be able to put two separate details, one for your condition, and then also in the main details where you're giving an overall synopsis. You don't have to necessarily use the other. Well, now that other one's eliminated, the only way you can use that is on the website. So. Now you've done all that, right? You think you've gotten everything set and it's done and you've published it and everything's good to go. Yeah. And then eBay, being as helpful as they are, they'll send you a little email saying, congratulations. Now your item is more likely to sell. Great job. Now it's listed as make offers. So
Yep.
now you got to manually go back through, and you can change it, but it's still a fucking
But
step, and it's
They should give me
irritating.
they should give me an option to not have that ever happen.
Now
And
I'm
that
gonna
should be checked by
suspect
default.
I'm gonna suspect that what they're gonna tell you, because I haven't made this call yet, because I know I'm gonna get angry, and I know it's gonna take a while to get through this call.
Yeah.
I suspect what's gonna happen is they're gonna want you to go through and set up like a bold, like a generic, but it's gonna cost you so many steps, like a generic form where these are my options, save.
Okay.
So every
Yeah.
time
So
you start, those,
business policy.
right? So but then every time you won't be able to clone ads no more. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you're gonna have to go through and select every little category. It's music, it's whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna add, no matter what happens, it's gonna add steps to the process. When before, and I'm so mad. The only reason my because I don't even update the app no more because of this. Because I'm always afraid they're gonna slip something in. But see, I got a new phone.
Now you have
And
no choice.
I wasn't able to back it up off my computer because I don't know. I must have put in some fucking encryption thing, and I couldn't remember what I put in, and I don't even remember doing it, to be honest.
If it was an Android, you could just load the APK, no problem, an old version.
You know what? They tell me that
what?
too with iOS, that you can go through and re-download it, an older version, but I have yet to been able to do it. But it doesn't matter. It's still, they're gonna eventually, what they'll do is they'll stop supporting it. At some point, they'll stop supporting the old app, and so everybody's got a bitch, is what it is. Everybody has to bitch. You have to send in complaints. Everybody has to do it, because if you don't, it's just gonna be, then they're gonna think everything's fine. Because I've already fired off an email bitching. Of course, it just went to some whatever, but everybody's got to do it. Everybody's got to band together and spend the 20 minutes on the phone it's going to take, call up. And if they just keep getting flooded with this, they'll adjust it, because they did this to me once before. They did an updated of a version of the app, and it eliminated a few things. And I called up and complained, and lo and behold, somehow my version, like on my phone, like I don't know what that guy did. He must have went into some settings on their end, and it brought back the instant payment required. There was two things that they took off before, and I got rep on the phone. I must have went through IT or something, and I haven't been able to get back through because I've only tried it once, and this lady was dumb. And well, it wasn't that she was dumb; she just didn't know what I was talking about. So I need to try it again. But I mean, if enough people complain, because if they don't, they're going to assume everybody likes it. And it's fucking garbage. It is literally garbage. It's the worst update they've ever done.
I got to listen to that podcast that I listened to, that Scavenger Life podcast, because they have an eBay store with 8,000 items. So how are those people taking this?
God, that's got to be a nightmare. That's got to be a nightmare. Can you imagine if they sent you something saying 1,000 of your items are now accepting offers? And what sucks is I had noticed it last year. I started sending this guy offers on something, and he just kept declining them.
You mentioned that.
So finally I emailed him. I'm like, hey bro, like, I mean, I'm not trying to bug you, but what's your bottom line? He goes, I didn't even want this. eBay switched it to that. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. And I just left him alone.
I think that happened to me recently.
Yeah.
I was buying a Neo Geo controller.
Yeah, I remember you saying you wanted one.
And I kept on doing the submit offer right under, like, it was like, I don't know, $65, and I was like 63. And it kept rejecting it instantly.
Oh, they can set up automatic rejections.
Well,
like,
see, that's
number if he had set it up.
65.
No. See, what you probably did is you probably just had some asshole seller who was trying to get into the search engine for best offers.
Well, that's possible.
So he probably purposely did that, because by default eBay won't do that. They'll typically go like 30% is the standard.
Review it before he rejects it.
Right. He would have to review it. That guy was just an asshole. He probably set it for 1 penny less just to
or
get
he
into
could have also had eBay flip it to best offer enabled, and he just typed the number that he would minimum accept as the actual buy it now.
Yeah, but either way, it's still
it came back
instantly.
A minute later.
Yeah.
That guy wasn't. He wasn't looking to deal. I think he was just purposely trying to get into a different search engine.
Possible.
because that's
that's clever, but it's kind of dirty too.
Yeah,
so.
well, no, because what ends up doing it becomes a frustrating experience for the buyer. I'm less like I'll go buy it for $1 more from someone else if they're an asshole. I don't care. Like, I mean, at that point, I don't want to give them my money.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing is they're trying to make here goes my tip. Try to make it a positive experience for the buyer as well. A lot of people get defensive and they're always angry when a buyer tries to ask them questions, because I've had people come back at me rude, typing all caps and just acting like a jerk when I'm actually just trying to be interested in your item. And then it's fine. If you don't want me to buy it, I won't. I don't care. If you think I'm bothering you, you don't have to. You're under no obligation to reply. But if you do, be professional about it. And I'll tell you, it also helps when you have an issue, because I sold a DVD player recently, one of that Disney DVD player that I had listed for media mail. So Johnny, if you're listening, it went out media mail, and there was no problem.
U.S. shipping.
But anyways, yeah, it's not a don't worry about the Canadian thing.
Topic for last month.
Right. So she messaged me right away. You could tell by the way she was typing, she was a little annoyed. She was saying that it wouldn't power on. And she's tried it and it won't power on. Like, she was really kind of agitated. So, I don't ever admit fault because I know it was tested. So I don't start off with like, I'm not sorry, I didn't do anything wrong. But what I'll do is like, oh, well, can you explain to me what's going on? Have you tried? I gave her some helpful suggestions. I was like, just bear with me here because I'm trying to help you, because I did test it and I tested it multiple times, as you can even see in the picture. I was like, are you sure it's plugged into an outlet that's working? Like, maybe that outlet's hooked to a light switch that might prevent it. You have to have the switch on. Or what I suspected was she put the AV cables in wrong. She had the video going into the audio and the audio going into the video. So when she's pushing the button, nothing's coming up on the TV. That's kind of what I suspected was happening. But anyways, so I just said, why don't you try a couple things and then get back to me? And of course, like 2 minutes later, she's apologizing. Oh, I don't know why, but it's working now. Yeah, I know why it's working, because you weren't doing it right. But and she gave me great feedback and she was happy with it. But I mean, sometimes just take a minute, because when you get someone who says something isn't working, of course, you're immediately going to get defensive. You're annoyed. You don't want to have to deal with this, especially when you've tested it. And you assume, because, well, I do. I always assume something's up and they're trying to scam. They got buyer's remorse, something like that.
Mhm.
So, but I try not to go into it with the mindset that they're lying. I try not to, because that puts you in it's going to come across when you're replying to them. So I try to be helpful, and she was fine and everything worked out. But, maybe don't like reply immediately, because if my immediate reply is "fuck you,"
I've heard people say that before.
You don't know what you're talking about. I know it's right. I could have got really snippy with her. I just took a few minutes and I came back at her politely, and of course it was her. I knew it was her. I knew it. I'm like, come on, like, it didn't get broke. I knew I shipped it right. I packed it well. It's not gonna not work. It just couldn't have stopped working between here and there. And one other return that I thought was funny recently, I sold this little, it's like a little mini cabinet arcade. It's vintage. It's Dracula. It's a little tabletop, right?
Okay.
And somehow I actually ended up with two of them. It's just random. One I got through a Craigslist deal, and one I got from a friend who got it at a swap meet. But I tested them both, and they're both fine. And I know they're both good. So I sent it to her, and she took a while to get back to me. She said she was sick or something. And so she's like, the only reason I bought it is because it was supposed to work, and this was my childhood toy, and I was so happy to get it. Like, she was upset. I could tell she was. So I was like, listen, good luck to you. Good luck for you, because I actually have two of them. So why don't you just go ahead and send that one back, and I'll swap you out. No problem. Because I knew it was fine, but I'm going to leave it up to her to pay the shipping. And it's like, you know what? I got like $100 out of her. I don't mind shipping it back. Because I tried to troubleshoot it with her a little bit, and she couldn't. She said it still wasn't working. I knew it was working, though.
I was
like, you know what? I'll swap you out.
The second one.
Yeah, but you know what? Eventually those returns don't work, because she already waited a month to get back to me. She only got up to 60 days. So
yeah,
I could have dragged it out. It was going to take her probably a week to get to me. I could have held it for another week and then shipped it back at the very last possible second. You know what I mean? But I figured there was also the chance she'd be lazy and not do anything. And that's exactly what happened. Lazy. She didn't send it back. And there you go. Or she got it working.
Changed the batteries and it worked fine.
Right. Or she got it working. Because, I mean, definitely test your electronics because there is a good chance they might not work. You know what I mean? Like, double check them. You assume just because something's clean or whatever that, of course, it's going to work. But take the time. I mean, with video games, a lot of them, like I'm not going to play a 40-hour RPG to make sure it goes all the way through.
No.
That's not going to happen.
It's not worth it.
It only takes a few minutes to pop some batteries in the average electron. So take the time.
Yeah. All right. I had some questions about garage selling tips for you guys to answer. I just don't know if I want to keep going too much longer. Like more and more and add more stuff. You feel like it? I have so many.
Well, we can skip the story time
too, or from listeners.
Yeah.
What's that?
We'll do the tips, but we'll just skip the story time. How about that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So negotiating tips in garage sales. I said, does it change how you negotiate with it being unlikely that you'll ever see the person again?
Yeah, it does. I might be a little more, a little less patient, but honestly, I typically, if I'm in another area, how it'll change is I'll tell them you probably never see me again. Because sometimes they'll be like, well, come back. And I'll just let them know, I don't live in this area. I'm less likely to ever come back here. But if we can make the deal right now, I don't like turn into a jerk or anything, but I'm a little more final about it, Whereas if I know I might be back in that area, maybe I'll leave that door open, leave them the number. But if it's a whole nother city that I'm very unlikely to ever come back to anytime soon, I'll make sure to let them know that.
I'll straight up say I'm not from around here and I'm not coming back because I'll just lie.
Yeah. To try and get them to come down on the price.
Well, not to come down necessarily, I guess.
Or even to bring it out for
right.
that matter.
That's more in that case. Come back next weekend. Oh, I'm not from this area because I know that I'm not coming back next weekend. Right?
Yeah. Like even if you're in Waterloo, it's still a 25-minute drive or a 20-minute drive or whatever it is.
I've tried that. It just doesn't work out. They're like, oh, we're gonna have it out at next weekend's sale, and I've gone by and the doors are all closed. And then I'm like,
or it rains.
Do I go knock on the door? So yeah, I'll just be like, oh no, I'm not from around this area. But
I was on Kijiji and there's sales and I was jumping between sales, like just the general area, and then I get to the one and there's supposed to be video games there and the door's not even open. There's no sale. So I knocked on the door and said, oh, it said there's gonna be video games here. And the dad answers, he's like, oh, that was my son. He was going to have a sale. He's still in bed.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that.
So he went, got the son and said, you said you were going to have a garage sale. Your ad is still up. Get down here and sell some games to this guy.
That's funny. You know what I will do that I get annoyed sometimes when people say they're going to have a sale and they don't open it and they just don't have it.
That bothers me.
I'll lay on my horn while
It's even worse if they still have
like
signs. I have never done that. If they have signs up, that's even worse. Like say it's signs from last weekend and I didn't even know.
Oh, I hate that. Or people leave their signs
they put the signs up but never open the sale.
Yeah.
Anyway, does it change how you negotiate based on the person's age or how familiar they are with games?
I just fill people out. I mean, if their age comes into play, but I've had some older people who were fucking hardcore negotiators. So
I see that. I actually find older people are more likely to be good negotiators.
Yeah. So I don't like to take anybody likely based on anything really. It's just more about how they carry themselves and how they respond to me is kind of where I come at with the negotiation. Mm-hmm. Typically, a good negotiator will tip their hand. They'll let you kind of know where they're at before you even say a word. So, in my experiences, and also you do some probing questions before you even get to the negotiation. I mean, typically, if they'll throw out a price from the get-go, or I don't know, you could just see. I mean, a lot of times it's just feel, but I mean, I don't usually based on the age because I've been so surprised. Like I had an older lady who I thought was going to give me everything for $5, hit me with like 100. You know what I mean? It's like, all right. I mean, you're not wrong, but you know what I mean? Let's get it down a little bit, And she did. She came down, but it wasn't an easy mark where I've had someone who I thought for sure would know their shit, and it's like, oh yeah, $5, take it all, you know. So it's
And that comes down to sometimes they just want it gone, right?
yep.
Even if
And
they
some
do know what
people-
it's worth. But
Well, but some people you would assume their age, you would assume they would be a little more knowledgeable with eBay or something, and they're just out of the fucking loop. They just look at it as garbage.
yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? They just think of it as like, who would want that? I got a PS4 over here. I got an Xbox One. Why would you want that?
Yep.
Just take it.
Yeah, and
You know,
especially if it's not out at the sale. If they don't even think
To sell it.
right? If they don't
Yep.
even think that this is something that someone wants, like, then they're most likely gonna sell it to you for cheap. And that's what happened with I don't know. Was I talking about that Super Nintendo find? No, that was at the store earlier. Where I
Okay.
found that. So my best find last year was that bin full of Super Nintendo and NES stuff. And again, I got the money ready. It was a wife in the driveway with, I don't know, 20 different items, and I forget. So we approached the sale and I said, hey, we're looking for older video games. Went through my spiel. She said, my husband has some stuff, but I don't know if he wants to sell it. So I assumed that he wasn't home. And I was like,
remember you saying this.
would you
before.
mind giving him a call? And, you know, if you're willing to bring it out, I'll make you an offer and you can present him with the offer. She's like, oh no, he's inside. So she goes inside and then I get the money ready. I think she said N64, but it ended up being a bin. I could see a Super Nintendo and an NES. I forget exactly why I got into the story, but
I remember that video. It was a nice, very nice
Is you
bin.
not knowing or?
yeah. So I don't know. I had $50 in my mind as soon as I saw the two systems and I saw a couple games there, right? And then
Yeah,
he took the $50 gladly. I think it's because I was talking about how it wasn't out at the sale.
Yes. And accepting lower prices. than you
Right, and he was
expect.
probably just sitting in the basement. They didn't even think to bring it out to put in the driveway for this sale. So he was like, oh, $50,
Yes.
great. Like, he was more than happy. And I guess I should touch on, that's my thing in the last couple of years. I want to get stuff as cheap as I can, but still have the person who's selling be happy with what they got.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I offer someone $20 and they're reluctant and they're like, oh, I guess, then I will often like, okay, how about 30? And they're like,
Okay.
oh, okay. But, you know, if I offer them 50, they're like, oh yeah, sure, and then fine. Or if
Gotcha.
I offer them 20 and they're like, great, you know. So
Gotcha. Yeah. If they look hesitant, then you're just like,
Then I'll
okay, I'll
bump it
just
up.
put on a little more. I'm gonna make money anyway, so I
Right.
might as well make them comfortable with it.
And I had that issue with an older lady. I got a nice score of nice N64 stuff. This was a lady who still played Zelda all the time. And
Yeah, we were
she had
talking about
really good stuff. And I started with the 20, and she was kind of like, oh, okay. There was a Conkers in there. And I think I ended up giving her 40. I gave her another $20. And she was happy with that. Like I said, as long as the seller was happy.
Well, and you say you go to garage sales and you often see the same people selling it every year.
Yeah.
So if someone has a bad experience buying from you, or sorry, selling to you, and you see them again the next year and the next year,
Right.
and they keep seeing you, and they're not going to give you another deal.
Yeah.
They're not even going to give you another sale.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember people. I have a better memory than I realize for certain sales. Because I'll be like, oh, remember, I'm back again. Remember last year?
Yeah, I
said
remember you
had
saying
this?
that in some videos. Like, I
Yeah.
remember this house.
Yeah, so I'll say to people like, oh, we have games we're not selling. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll see you next year. And then often I do, right? Like,
Especially those community sales, right?
yeah,
That's where they are
for
the
sure.
most.
Yeah, I was gonna say about the age thing. The one touchy area for me is kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
Yeah, I always like to, if a kid's selling something, like I bought a Game Boy Color, it was pretty beat up. And I asked the kid how much, and they said $5. So then I'll say to the parent, is that okay with you? Kind of thing. I'll run it by
Okay,
the parent.
yeah.
That's typically.
Yeah. I'm the same way with that. I don't like to buy from children unless their parents are right there,
Right.
because that's dirty. And I won't negotiate with them either. If they say the price, then I'll either buy it or not buy it. I mean, it'd have to be like something really good for me to break that rule, and I never have, because I don't want to be a dick. You know, that's not cool.
On the
Like,
flip side of that, we were having a garage sale here 2 years ago, I think,
Mhm.
and Andrew came by. But aside from that, some kid came by on his bike,
Yeah.
and I was selling a Game Boy Advance, not SP, just a regular Game Boy Advance. I think I might have had like $20 on it or something like that. I think I ended up selling it to him for like $7 because that's what he had on him.
Oh,
I'm like,
really?
yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
Kijiji had an hour later.
Oh no!
Oh, he
posted
got
an
you.
hour later
Dude.
and he was
got
like-
you.
on the other side of Fisher Hallman from here.
Oh, that sucks.
Should have bought it back.
Yeah.
Well, I've had that that too, right? So I'm reluctant at times to give people more money because I've had the situation where I think I bought, it was like a Atari or a television, and I gave the lady more than I think she said, "Oh, just give me $20," and she was super nice, and it was a good box of stuff. So I was like, "Oh, here's 40," and of course I got it home and it didn't work.
Oh no! I thought you were gonna say like she got suspicious. Like, why are you offering me more? How much is this really worth?
Right? Yeah, that's another factor, right?
It didn't work. All right. Well, we have story time here. I'm gonna skip story time all except for I tried out Gixen.com, Gixen, which is an eBay auction sniper app. I tried it out on the DJI goggles that I was telling you about. So for eBay, you can enter your maximum bid, and it'll put it in with the last few seconds of the auction.
Okay, and you tried it with the goggles?
Yeah, someone had an auction on the goggles, so I got the goggles.
You meant like you were wearing the goggles.
Wearing
to
goggles.
try this app out.
No.
I was like, how's that helpful?
That would be interesting.
Gotcha.
It's VR.
Okay.
You're in there. No, I got the goggles for what I think would be a better price because you just avoid the fighting back and forth.
Okay.
Right. Everybody can already go on eBay to an auction item and enter their max bid.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get emotional about it, you're just gonna keep increasing your max bid, right?
Right.
And that's what this avoids is people increasing it.
Well, but also you might not be there at the end, and you might not want to drive. But the positive of a sniping app is, let's say your max bid is $20. If you put that $20 in early, now you're giving the guy something to shoot for, and he might keep going to find it. Whereas if your max bid goes in at the very last second, he might not jump to $20. He might go 17 and be out.
Yeah.
So but there's a lot of people
essentially making it a silent auction. Everybody puts in their bids.
Yes. Right. If everybody's using it, you're right. If everybody's using it, but the thing is always, I mean, if you really want, if that's your strategy, always just go to whatever is your highest. That's it. If your highest is that, because you can slippery slope that shit, because I've done it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, well, if I'll go 50, why wouldn't I go 51? That's the thing. If I go 51, why not 50? Next thing I know, it's $330. You know what I mean? It's like,
there was this Lego set on eBay that after I got the goggles, I thought I'd try the auction thing again with this Lego set that I saw. The Lego set sells for $600. Sells for $600. It's a really uncommon limited edition. It was sealed Lego 4-wheel drive remote control crawler. It was a custom one-off that they made. They took they had a real Lego set of this crawler, and they took submissions for people to submit in their own designs for it. Like, what pieces do you want it built in, and how do you want it to build? And somebody won that, and they made that actual set that he designed. And then they made this limited edition box, and it sells on eBay for 600 Canadian. So there was one that was going for $250 or something like that. It was around $250, and I said, okay, my max is $300. No, $350. I think I said $350 is my max. So I put it in the sniper app, and I just let it go. And somebody beat me by like a penny or whatever. You know what I mean? But that makes me think he had already typed his number in, and his was probably 400 or something.
Right.
And I wasn't going to go that high anyway.
Right.
So I was happy that I just put my max, and I'm comfortable with my max. Right. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I got a quick question that's related to this, but have you guys tried Facebook ads, like for looking for video game type things? Somebody told me, I think somebody messaged me and said like that's like a real.
So you buy an ad?
Yeah, like you put out a Facebook ad saying that you're looking for certain things.
But did they just go to Marketplace and put an ad there?
No, I think this ad would
like
show
a paid sponsored ad.
You can run ads. You can run ads. Just you can put your name up and put that. And it can be good. There's a lot of competition on that, but I don't know about your particular area. I mean, the good thing would, think of it this way: if you can target a certain age group of people who might like women, for instance. I'm not trying to be not trying to be biased or anything.
Yeah.
Right. Mom who's got her kids shit in the garage.
Yeah.
She's on Facebook, and it just so happens to target her. If you could target your audience, obviously, if you're going for guys in their 30s, it's a wasted money. Yeah. You're trying to target a particular group who might see this ad. And it could pay off. I mean, usually resellers
specifically.
Yeah.
Right. Usually resellers do that.
I still don't really even like the people who post a Kijiji ad saying, I want video games.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even like seeing those ads still.
No.
It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, but you're
like
not
2 years
their.
ago, when games were harder to find.
I don't think they work.
Audience, though.
Yeah. What's that?
No, they do. You're not their target audience, and
Yeah,
they
I
do
know, I
work.
agree with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Those ads do work because Jay, who we had on the show, that's how he built his business, was through, hey, I'll buy your games, and then people are like, well, I got games, and then they sell them to you. I mean, is it as good as it once was? Probably not, but if you're putting out a wide net, that's just another option.
Yeah.
It's just another option.
I feel like it's less likely to work on Kijiji because it's video game specific.
Yeah.
So you have to be in the video game
section to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
so
can
that's
see
why
that.
I never really tried that.
And you're already, people who are on Kijiji probably are trying to get a deal. Whereas on Facebook, they're just looking at whatever, right? So maybe Facebook would be a better way to do it.
Yeah.
But I just hate the paying money to get stuff. That's what I don't like.
Well, the other thing about the Facebook Marketplace, when you put up ads to sell stuff in the Facebook Marketplace, when you go on like the generic, like not even looking specifically for something, like you just click like what's being sold in my area, okay, that anybody could click on that. You know what I'm saying? Like some mom who's looking for kitchen knives.
I found those are targeted. Those ads that it shows are targeted.
Not always, because when I click on it, I see shit that I've never even searched for.
I think it does a little mix of things that you maybe wouldn't normally look at just in case.
But that's kind of my point, though.
Yeah, I think
those could bleed into other people's searches. Yeah, obviously it's going to target people who are specifically looking for it, but they do tend to bleed into others, and it doesn't cost anything. Like those are unbought. Like you could literally take a picture of a stack of video games and say, I want to buy this, and that's free, and just refresh it every few days, or once a week. It just takes a couple of minutes, and it's not going to take that long. But you can get lucky.
Those are just the ones I hate seeing.
Yeah.
I did it at one time, and I don't think anything ever surfaced out of it. So I thought, screw it.
Yeah,
like people were wanting too much money that did contact me. Like they were like a collector who was trying to sell off his collection, and he wants collector money, right? Like that's what I got.
Yeah, they annoy me too.
Yeah, I think I did it like 3 years ago for like 2 months. I was like, I'll just leave this ad up and see what happens. Yeah. Nothing surfaced out of it. I don't think at all.
Yeah, but if you're a good salesman, like he has a lot of experience at yard sales.
Yeah.
Everybody meets their match. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think it's a matter of getting them or allowing you to come. It's got to be in person.
Yeah, I was gonna say you'd probably prefer it in person, but what if you get there and it's shit?
I guess that's a chance to take, right?
Yeah, but also you could get there and like when he went to his buddy's house to pick up his battery 3 doors down or whatever, his yard sale. So sometimes these opportunities somehow work out. You never know, man.
Yeah. I was gonna say this since this is story time.
Yeah.
Some of the shady things that I used to do when I first started. One of the things I did, like the first year I did this, was put up fake garage sale ads.
I think I remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
So I'd put up an ad for like an area out of the way saying, "Hey, we're having a
video games
and video games
with video games." So at the time, it was probably 3 or 4 guys who were looking for that stuff because it was years ago. So, and I would let Andrew, and I would let him know. I would like, hey, I put this ad up here, so don't go to it. Basically, there was like one guy that we didn't like, and we wanted to get him away.
Yeah.
So that's what it was meant for. So I'm sorry to all the people in Kitchener that may have fallen for that. But
it's probably me. No,
I think people still do it.
Yeah, I think so too.
It happens because I get to sales. It's happened to me where I'll check out a sale and it's just nothing there.
I think there's times where I've gone to sales and there's nothing there and it's already sold, or they've even put video games there just to get people there. They'll put video games, records, that kind of stuff that people are looking for just to get people to show up.
Yeah, the people who are like serial garage sales.
Yeah, the reseller people.
They'll know
often,
what people are looking for.
Yeah.
And also another thing that I don't know if you guys email. Did you ever email people saying, "Hey, do you have video games?"
I tried it for a while and never really surfaced anything.
Me neither.
There was one time where I think his ad did say he had stuff, and I asked what it was, and I prearranged to go buy it, And then I got there and he's like, I just sold it to that guy, which was Liquid Wayno. Do you know?
Oh yeah.
And he'd sold it to him and his buddy.
Yeah, I haven't seen him for a while. He's
No,
great.
I haven't seen him for a while either.
Yeah. Yeah, I always make a joke like, oh, are you? Because I'll get a lot of times I'll be like, oh, or I'll get to a sale and be like, oh, are you the guy that emailed me? And once or twice,
you just say yeah.
Yeah, and once or twice it's paid off. And I was like, yeah, that was me. He's like, because one time he was like, oh yeah, I've got the games in here. You're the guy that emailed me. I'm like, yep. And I just bought up. Yep, that was me.
God. I tried it pretty hardcore for a while. Like for like 2 summers ago, I think I was just like emailing a bunch of ads.
Yep.
I
was emailing ads that weren't even
that didn't say any video games.
I think I tried that for 1 year and it's just like this
it wasn't
dumb
worth it.
because you know what you do is you alert them to the fact if they do have video games that people are looking for them, and then they can end up looking them up.
And they're already on their computer. It's easy to look it up on their phone.
So, and really, it ends up screwing the people who actually come to the sale later.
Yeah.
So I'll make a joke and be like, "Oh no, those people are cheaters," or like while I'm at the sale, because a lot of times they're like, "Oh, are you one of the people that emailed me?" Because
get out of bed and go.
Yeah.
All right. The next session is the discussion topic. Collection update. This Chris and I already talked about our collections in the past and stuff, but we can ask at least you, Charlie. Do you track your purchases and sales? Which I already know the answer. No.
No, I did at one point to justify this to my wife.
Yeah.
And within 2 months, she's like, "Okay, I'm off." She was off my back
because she saw the numbers were good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I wish you did because I want to compare.
Yeah, I think this year I might.
Okay.
I
want you to
just make a big spreadsheet. And before, like, I'd like to make it. Yeah, I think I'm more likely to show that stuff on YouTube now and talk about that stuff
because people are more comfortable with it.
Right.
I can see that.
So I saw in your collection, your game room video, you had mentioned that 95% of it was free.
Yeah.
Was that it? Is that now? Come on, that's what you tell your wife, right?
No, to be honest with you, I think it's all free.
Like let's say the kiosk. Let's say
to check myself.
The Dreamcast kiosk.
Yeah.
The $400 you had to pay out of pocket
has since been well paid for, with flipping.
Okay.
Easily,
like with stuff you sell just
later.
On Kijiji, for example.
Yeah.
But how much do you sell in a week?
When I was tracking it, on top of keeping what I kept. Like on top of building my collection, I was averaging thousands, like in a season. It was like between 5 and 8 thousand that I would make on top of what I kept.
So that's Kijiji sales, because you're not counting the stores you got to trade in usually, or
no,
you're not getting cash for the stores.
That's just raw intake from cash.
Okay.
Now that was, I don't think I made that much last year or the year before. Probably close still. I'd say I average between 5 and 10 in terms of money that I make on the stuff that I'm not keeping. And then that all goes back into the collection. A lot of it this year went to quite a few RC cars, but so like I'll even factor in like, I bought these PS4 games, which I don't buy a lot of newer gen games anymore. I get codes for a lot of stuff. I noticed, so that's been great too. But like everything, my bubble hockey machine, I've factored that in.
Yeah.
And I'm even easily. I just say 95% to like check myself a little.
Yeah.
Just in case, like. But no, it's all free. Like it is. I know it's hard for some people to believe, but
I was checking Chris's facial expression there.
Well, that's cool. Hey, that's good, dude.
I know this is probably not totally up to date, but your collector's app, it shows 5,622 games.
Yeah.
You'd sent me that link a long time ago for some games you were looking for or something.
Yeah, I need to go through this collector's app. I don't know what you guys use, but I love the collector's
I've been using
app.
collectors as well.
I've been using it for years. The $15 fees. For one thing, I reached out to collector's app years ago. I've been like, hey, give me a freaking link that I can put on my videos. that I like get like a percentage for, and I will get you
okay.
so many, and they just didn't want to do it.
Huh.
Like, I get so
Like an
many,
affiliate link, yeah.
yeah, just an affiliate link. Give me a little percentage of each person who buys the app, and like I could have sold them so many, but they just didn't quite understand.
Because the two people that I know of that have some of the biggest collections, at least with among friends, is VG Collectaholic and Round 2 Gaming. And VG Collectaholic uses collectors, and so does Round 2 Gaming.
Okay.
Like, I mean, he's over
it's a nice
9,000
app.
games.
The problem what I need to do is I need to re-enter everything because
Yeah, you said that.
they've had
Jesus
updates
Christ.
and like I have games that don't have cover art and stuff.
Oh,
and
okay.
I think I just need to go through, and the plan was to do it this winter, but I never got around to it.
Yeah, I think we said
and go through and just re-enter everything, because when I do a collection, I'll find all kinds of doubles and stuff that I missed.
What if you did it by console? Would that save you anything? How easy is it to delete by console? Like, let's say,
that's how I
just
would do
delete
it.
Wii and then re-add all Wii.
Right, and now with stuff like Wii, the barcode scanner makes it a lot easier. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Is just go through and re-add.
Yeah, barcode makes it way easier. When they don't have a barcode, I dread it. I'm like, oh.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
I went through and redid all my Game Boy. Just because I like all the images and stuff. But yeah.
All right. What else were we on here? I was getting distracted with that. Yeah, it's collection and stuff like that. That was total gains for you. My collection update is I'm up $255 on my entire collection. So this is my spreadsheet that I have.
Yeah.
Which I have a template of it if you're interested in the template.
I would love that.
So this is everything that I've bought ever.
Yeah.
Dating back to 2015 or so, I think I have the.
I would love to have this, but it just would have been unmanageable. It's just too much shit.
Like, this is my list. If you go to the bottom here, I've got 3,500 rows of stuff that I've, like, individual items I bought. If I do it in a bulk, bundle, I list every single item in it.
See, I know I would try and do that. I don't know how long I could keep up with the volume of stuff I get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I used to do it. Oh God, I used to do it in notes on my phone, and I would kind of do it more by bundle. I can't remember how I did it, but I didn't do it for long because it was tough to manage.
Let's see, your wife is calling. Does that mean we need to hurry or not?
Yeah, I think she needs Tylenol or something.
Oh, okay. But we may not necessarily need to hurry.
She'll live.
Okay. So my total collection, I've got, like, these aren't accurate because it's estimating how much things are worth, but like how much I've actually purchased things for. We've got like $20,000 worth of stuff total and $14,000 stuff that I'm keeping.
Right.
And then sales is, where the hell is sale? 20,700, something like that.
So you're up
255.
Yeah.
So everything in my collection's free, and I've got up $255.
Yeah.
So I can buy $250 worth of stuff.
Doesn't that feel great?
It does. It's awesome. I hate when it's red. I just feel like I have to sell stuff off.
Yeah, I phrase it like I don't use family money.
Yeah, that's
kind of the way I think of it.
Yeah, that's the same thing I've said as well.
Oh, you wouldn't believe, like, my father-in-law. And that's the first thing when I bring someone down to the game room. I'm like, I feel like I have to tell them that. Like, I don't spend every penny I own on this stuff.
Like, I'm not some deadbeat that's wasting my money on video games. Right.
And you know what? That's the fun for me, right? Like, I do think sometimes, am I more a collector than a gamer?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I think I enjoy the collecting aspect just as much as I do playing the games, for sure.
See, and I don't even keep that much.
Yeah.
My big drive is getting everything for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like, look at I have like 450 games is what I've got there. And that's a really small collection compared to most people that are collecting or even buying and selling as much as I am, right?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, listener questions. You can tweet #DDAnswers if you have any questions for us to answer on the next episode, or you can ask it in the Cartridge Club forums under the Dollar Dorks podcast thread, or on YouTube comments if you're watching this on YouTube. I don't know if you knew this is being released on YouTube as well, by the way. So first question is from Scott, VG Collectaholic. He says, do you tend to focus your collection focus your collection at any given time, like a particular console, a generation, or do you tend to simply add whatever you find for a good price and grow your collection that way? I already know your answer. You basically just grab whatever you find a good deal on, keep what you need.
Yep, I keep everything I need that I find at garage sales, but I do go through phases where I'll focus on
Game Boy, Dreamcast.
Yeah. So if I'm at like a swap meet or something like that, I will like look for games that I need for the collection. But that usually is bargain bins. I'm usually looking for filler
Mhm.
when it comes to that stuff. But as of late, I've been buying some more
The
expensive
NES, you
games.
just did that with. You
Yeah,
got a
I think
whole
I've
bunch of-
realized that, I understand that some games I'm just never going to find in a garage sale. And if I can find them for good deals.
Or never
just...
a second time, like Panic Restaurant.
Right. Right. But see, I feel like there's a chance that I'll find a little Samson or Panic Restaurant more than I'll find some Sega Saturn games.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's just some stuff that you just don't ever see at garage sales.
Yeah. Even Genesis around here. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard for us to find. I'm more likely to find NES games than I am Genesis. Yeah. Shit, what was I going to say? Oh, I don't remember. Something I was thinking about was related to that. But anyway, what about you, Chris?
Well, it depends. I mean, if I'm buying on eBay, then yeah, I'll be more focused on what I'm buying. Like I'm looking for NES manuals, or I was finishing my 64 set. But if I'm out like hunting at a yard sale, then I'll just buy whatever I come across.
Since you finished,
as long as I want it or I can make some money with it. What's that?
Since you finished N64, what are you doing next?
See, I get that question. It's not really how I collect. I mean, I was still actively getting Atari cards. I'm still actively looking for my manuals for the Nintendo, the NES. So it's not really. I mean, if I come across something interesting I like I wasn't in the market for an Amiibo kiosk, but I found one for a great price. And I really liked it, so I bought it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. I mean, I would like to add some more Super Nintendo games. I mean, I'm at like 400 right now, but I'm not necessarily looking to complete the set. But if I do come across, especially if I come across them for cheap, even if they're filler titles for $1 or $2, I'll grab them if I need them. But
do you collect Game Boy at all?
I do.
Do you have a backlit Game Boy?
I do.
Yeah, that was.
It
wasn't until I got that backlight.
I still haven't finished modding mine. Do you remember when I came to your house to pick up that backlight?
Oh yeah.
I still haven't finished
it.
I haven't done the Loca. I don't want to do the Loca glue yet.
Oh, that's the Game Boy Color.
Yeah, sorry, Game Boy Color backlight.
Yeah, so it wasn't until when I got that's when I really got into Game Boy, because I'm like, this thing's now playable.
Yeah.
It looks really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, no, I got one backlit a few years ago, but I mean, I've always enjoyed the Game Boy. I mean, you can always play them on SP if you need to as well, but or even Super Game Boy on the Super Nintendo. But yeah, no, I like Game Boy games. I really like to come across obscure Game Boy games. Like I pass on a lot of common shit that I don't care about because I'm not. I might regret it someday if I ever did go for a set, but I love coming across obscure Game Boy games. I come across, like a Snow Brothers or something. Like I didn't even realize they had that. Right. I'm still discovering the Game Boy library. You know what I mean?
That's why I went the NES. There's still so many NES games that I've never. I didn't know this existed.
There's my NES collection, 7 games.
Yeah, I got crap on my last video because there was a bunch of games that I bought that I was like, oh, I've never actually heard of this one. Yeah. Let me know if it's any good. And some guy, of course, was like, this guy collects all these games. You've never even heard of them. Like,
there's a lot of games to know.
I said many times, like, I'm not a video game expert, right?
I think you said it on the next video.
I don't know everything about video games, but like I have the next 40 years of my life to play these games that I've collected, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't pretend to know everything about video games.
All right, our next question is from Chris Nintendo Hodge, the guy who runs the Berry Game Exchange. At Nintendo Hodge, he says, when going to garage sales, on average, how many houses do you hit, and what size of an area? Do you know how many houses you hit? I know you've thrown out like 80. You just said today, I think.
Yeah.
So you said 300 before on good days. I think
300.
I swear I heard you.
No, not that many.
Maybe it was 100.
Yeah, I think basically maybe 120 was probably the most.
Okay. How long you start early? I know that.
So that's cases where it's like the
community
sales and multiple community sales.
Yep.
So the first week of May, there's up to 3 community sales at one time, and that was probably pre-Matt and pre my kids.
Kids, yeah.
Which really slowed me down, right?
Yeah.
But that was just me flying. So I think though on average, aside from like those really crazy first couple weekends where there's a lot of community sales, probably 60 to 80, and then those community sales probably 120.
And then you do KW area. I don't know how to describe how big the area is.
Kitchener. I mean, I guess the best way to describe it is by population.
And you don't go to Cambridge either.
No. the best way to describe it is by population.
That's
so
what I was going to say.
What's
I
the
don't know
population
of Kitchener.
250, 260?
I don't know. Let's see. Population of... Oh my god, this is not going to be fun. My keyboard's just too far away. And
204.
200,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Waterloo, it's another 100, but I don't really get to Waterloo.
Yeah,
so.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kitchener's good. Like, there's a lot of areas that are really good for garage sales that I would hit every time. Like Activa. I don't always find good sales there, but there's always sales there.
Yeah.
And I found I got a GoPro Hero Black 4 Black, I should say, at a garage sale in that area one time for $116 because that's what was in my pocket. And he's like, "Sure, I wanted a work thing anyway."
Yeah, and I got the exact same thing you're talking about at a garage sale for $20. 100%. Even had the little case and. But to answer the question, for me, it's not really about how many I hit. It's let's say I take $200 and I'll shop until the money's gone, or if I feel very satisfied. Like if it to me, it's not as about many houses, it's about how much time. You know what I mean? Like, I'll start at 6 and I'm getting out there. That's when I usually leave the house about 6, maybe 5:30. I'll get to the area. I'll scout out an area. And then I'll just start hitting those. And I don't really keep track of how many yard sales. It's just about areas. And Fresno's about 500,000 people. So, there's a lot of yard sales going on. I don't really care about how many. It's not about a quota. It's just about how much stuff I get. And I'll shop until the money's gone. But sometimes, I've gone and I've spent all the money in 20 minutes. And that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm satisfied. I got what I needed, and I'm gonna make my profit. And I got to get home and got to start listing or get the trades out or whatever. And I start networking that way because, I don't really care if I get it all done in 20 minutes. That's great. Then it's less driving, less walking. You know what I mean? Or if it takes me all day, like I went out and hit it hard. That big sale that I got all that stuff at. I was so amped up, I put everything away and I decided to go to the swap meet and I found a Halo Edition Xbox console for $10 at 1:30 in the afternoon. So, it just really just depends, but
see, I couldn't imagine blowing through my money in the first hour and then quitting. I
couldn't. I would get more money. Yeah. That's what I would do. So
yeah.
I don't have a budget when it comes to garage sales or anything like that. Even if my video game budget ran out, I'd go in a deficit because I know I'm going to make the money back.
That being said, I rarely go past like $200, but I would just get more money, right? Like I think of it like work. I really do. Like I joke like, oh, I got to work on Saturday. I mean, I love doing it, but I put in, I don't know, 6 hours?
Yeah, see, before I had kids, I would go out. I still didn't start as early as you did. I had to kick my own ass to get out of bed for to leave the house by 8. Right?
Really? See, I'm ready, man. Like
I've never been a morning person.
I sometimes I kind of am. I sometimes dream about like garage sale finds and like.
No, I would too.
I'll be hard to sleep. Like I get that excited.
No, I would do that too. Yeah, I get hard to sleep as well, and I think there's gonna be a good weekend, like one of the big multiple community sales.
Yeah.
And that was before kids. Now with kids, my wife and my kids want to come garage selling too. Mm-hmm. My kids love garage selling. I know yours do.
Yeah.
My wife loves garage selling. If it wasn't for her, I don't think I actually would have got into doing garage sales. Like I started watching your videos, I forget how many years ago. Mm-hmm. And then I mentioned to my wife video games and garage sales. She's like, I'd love to go to garage sales. My mom and I garage sale all the time. I'm like, let's go.
Right now, but you guys are in an area where your garage sale season's a little more limited, correct?
Oh yeah.
Mine.
I would rather what we have than Southern California or Florida, right? All our garage sales are concentrated into a couple months, right? So instead of
spreading out through the year,
instead of 20 garage sales in a given area, there's 200, right? Because it's all condensed into those months.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I can maximize my time.
Yeah, that makes sense in a way.
But
I wish I had the opportunity to go it throughout the year, though.
But sales are available in. How many sales do you think are available in your area on any given weekend?
100 at minimum.
Yeah.
That's just Fresno. On a minimum,
but
that's just Fresno.
But 1 million people.
500,000, but at least 100.
Here.
Right, and on Kijiji, typically 150 listed sales.
That's
just listed.
Right, But then we're
So,
also
probably
talking
300.
quantity over quality. I mean, you can have 5,000 fucking sales, but if there's not the stuff there, you're just spinning your wheels.
But you
know
can't
what
determine what. That's my point. There's no way of determining which ones are quality. It's really just,
Or
to
even
me, it's
whether he has better quality sales than we do. It's hard
right.
to quantify.
You really
that.
can't,
Well,
right?
no,
So
I
it's
mean,
like-
I'm not comparing it to like I'm sure you're very happy with the stuff you pick up, but like when you're saying you're gonna keep going till your money's out, I mean that's great, but there's next Saturday for me, and after a certain point of the day, I mean, at least I know my area. At a certain point of the day, those fines are gonna get slimmer.
yeah,
And you're just chasing it. There's a lot of competition here. I mean, with the 500,000 people, I'm not going against 3 guys. I'm going
Yeah.
against 300. You know what I mean? So I'll go and I'll track down and I'll do all the questions. But man, once the car's full, I'm happy. I got to list all this crap. You can bring home too much stuff sometimes. And I'm not just buying just video games. Because
Yeah.
for me, if that's all you're going out for, you're going to come home empty-handed more than not. I'll come home with the stuff that's going to buy me video games or pay my power bill.
So-
you know what I mean?
So when
Yeah.
I'm doing garage sales, I rarely pull home video games anymore at all. Like out of, let's say, 5 weekends in a row, I'll get games twice maybe, and not even anything good.
Mhm.
Like just a game that I want to play or my kid wants to play.
Mhm.
But garage sales for me lately has been getting things I would buy in a store anyway, but way cheaper.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about the floating shelves.
Yeah.
These floating shelves, like all garage sales, maybe 1 or 2 are Kijiji, and they rather than spending however much on that shelf from IKEA, I got 2 of them for $5.
Yeah, me too. I do a lot of that too. And I guess a lot of what my experience, I'm speaking about like pre-Matt and pre-kids.
Yeah.
Now, like I'd much rather go out with them than be by myself and hit more sales. Like it's more fun for me to have the kids there and have Matt there than to hit, an extra 20, 30 sales.
But there are some times where I wish I could just go and hit a whole bunch of sales
Sometimes,
myself.
yeah.
I'll be
Like,
honest.
say a really good
I'm
weekend,
always
sales
yeah.
happening. You just want to plow through it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always bummed when you drop Matt off.
Yeah. No, Matt makes my video.
I'm
no,
always bummed. I'm just like, dude, all right, end the video. Come on. Let's get to the end. Let me see what you got.
Matt's
Yeah.
got to go to work. Video's over.
Yeah, no, trust me, I know. My videos are much more interesting with Matt for sure.
I like Matt. Matt's cool, man.
But even just having anybody else as a second person, it helps
Absolutely.
to riff off each
Oh,
other
yeah.
or
For sure. It's much more
conversation,
interesting.
because talking to a camera is just difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the reason this guy's here.
Yeah, you can't imagine a solo podcast.
Yeah, let alone his experience. But all right, next question, because we're like diving into every question so deep. From Miles at Flock of Nerds, do you ever look at your collection and get the impulse to just purge it all? What would be the first thing to go, and what would be the last?
I'll just answer that.
Yeah.
No.
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 Let's say you had to, financial reasons.
If I did, I would. If I
Personally.
had to, I would sell the like Sega shit. I don't
You
really
wouldn't-
care.
you
But
wouldn't sell the
Genesis stuff.
duck hunts.
I mean, I could, but that's going to be a longer grind.
Yeah.
Like, if
unless
I-
you found a
there's
store,
not-
don't take them all.
If I went to a store who just happens to be like pumping out systems
Yeah.
and they needed these, that might be a target for that. But I could see starting with the systems because I got, at least
200.
35 NES consoles. I could sell those pretty quickly if I had to, and I know I can get them back if I wanted them. Yeah. The thing about it, they're all free. Like they don't, and I like the way they look on that bottom shelf over there.
And the last time you had a bunch of them, you traded them for a Cheetah Man 2, right? That was
Yes, I traded. Yeah,
Cheetah Man 2. It's a
nice
nice
to have
license.
Yeah, it's one of the rarest games to get. Besides like games that actual sold games, they're very hard. You're not going to come across it very often.
All right, so
no.
so
I'm not saying, and if I did, I would just sell stuff that doesn't really interest me.
what would be the last thing to go? What's the most precious?
The last thing would be my NES collection. Anything from it. I don't even the most common of common games out of that I wouldn't sell. So
yeah, I think NES and Dreamcast would be the last things I would sell. The first thing to go would be the Sega Pico, which I've mentioned a few times.
yeah, I've seen
That's not sun-faded?
It's not, yeah. I don't know how. And then like in television, ColecoVision, I have more of a connection to the 2600 than I do those systems. No, I never look at it ever and be like, I want to sell this. But if somebody came at me with a number, I'd do it in a heartbeat if the number's high enough. Because for me, I'd get to start over again.
I know,
and
that's
there's
what I was
something
gonna say,
cool
too.
about that, right? Now when I find a box of games, I need them all, right? Like I miss that.
Yeah.
I miss needing every single game that I find at garage sales.
That's part of the why I like helping other people find games.
Yeah.
Because it's fun to shop with someone else's money.
Right.
And it's also fun to have a new goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's why I've got like that one friend, Jesus Kane, that is going for a full Xbox collection, and I just want him to send me the list of what he needs.
Yeah.
So that I can keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, I don't know how many NES manuals you need, but I've got like a ridiculous box of NES manuals that whenever I get them, I just stick them in there, and it's been 5 years. So
Yeah.
I have to
let's
go
talk.
through and find which ones I need.
Yeah.
And put them in like some sort of. I want to find like some sort of like bin that I can put them in, so I can just flip through them when I want.
Okay.
But
Do you know what I think would almost
Probably got tons of
I was gonna say.
Hey, Derek, quiet. Yeah. I'll message you, man.
Okay.
I was gonna say floppy disk holders.
Right, that'd be
That's
good.
not tall enough, is it?
Well, I'd like to find one for like NES, one for Super, 64.
But you see those at thrift stores all the time, and they're not worth anything at all. Those little holders for floppy disks.
Yeah, I need to find some sort of solution there.
You keep the dust off them
But I've
if
got
they're
all
not
kinds of doubles. Yeah, I don't even know what's in there. It's heavy as fuck.
I didn't answer the question myself, but how many garage sales do I go to in a weekend? That was I'd say like 25, 30 is all I get to with wife and kids. My daughter is getting older, which is making it a lot easier.
Mhm.
Like now she's 2 years old, so she can actually get out of the car easier.
You should hear me. Like I should record it. Like I'm just forever like, come on, let's go, guys. Come on, get it. And it's always Matt. I'm like, come on, Matt. Come on, pick it up.
I was picturing the kids.
Yeah, the kids like I don't know. It's Matt.
I want to see more Andrew Cam.
Oh yeah, I know. I need to get back to that. I've got. I just picked up the DJI
I saw
Osmo
that, yeah.
Pocket, so I'm hoping that's going to solve a lot of camera issues this year. But then I'm going to put the GoPro.
But your
on.
Mobius was so like easy to.
Yeah. Now the Osmo Pocket's quite small, so I can still hold it under
I
my.
haven't seen it.
It's still small enough that it would hide under here.
Oh, okay.
So I think I can get away with doing that still. But if someone sees it, they're going to know it's not a key fob. It's some sort of
that's the
camera.
problem. Is your Mobius was a key fob, so no one
Right.
asked anything.
I mean, I could put it in like I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
better quality too than the Mobius, but
Yeah, and the Andrew Cam, with
Yeah.
his people don't care. They'll be like, "Oh, what's the camera for?" I'm like, "Oh, you have
He's
a
a
YouTube
kid.
channel,"
that's good. I like it.
and they just giggle at
I want to do a Sean Cam now for my son.
Well, it's funny because I captured the interaction between Andrew and Teddy.
Yeah, I know, it's
Where
great. I
Andrew's
love
like,
that.
Teddy, come see
Look at
this.
this,
Yeah,
the sword.
yeah.
I remember that one video, like the first Andrew Cam video.
Right. So it's just kind of partially me being lazy and partially Andrew remembering that he has to, I think, double tap to start it.
I have 2 GoPro sessions. I should put one on each kid.
That's what I use a session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the 4 and the 5. Okay. I don't ever feel like purging at all. I wouldn't want to sell my SNES because most of them are my original as a kid.
Yeah, don't ever do that. I wish.
First
I
thing
had,
to sell would be PS2.
I wish I had stuff from when I was a kid.
Yeah, there was one game, Turtles in Time. I didn't have my original because my cousin had borrowed the system, returned the system with all the games except for Turtles in Time.
Shitty.
So I had an adventure getting that back, but it wasn't the original. Yeah. Well, he's a deadbeat now. Okay, so question from James at RetroPixel. Any advice to maximize profits when downsizing your collection or selling off duplicates and extras?
Well, that's for you guys.
All right. Well, maximize your profit on your games. Obviously, I think it's obvious. Weed out the more expensive titles. Don't bundle that. Expensive titles, you're going to sell those separately. If you're going to bundle, what's that? Well, I would do it on eBay, but I'm not sure his options. For me, it would be eBay. Like if you got a good following, like, SeeJayAre or me or whatever on Instagram, you can go that route. Then you can minimize some of the fees. Now when you get bigger, like the bigger bulk lots, like you're going to have a bunch of commons, you could do lots on eBay and you're going to ship them in flat rate shipping boxes. That'll help. Now, if you're in Canada, I know that's not, I know that's, see, I'm giving American advice. I'm not quite sure.
That's okay. When you talk about shipping, you just mention it. It's fine.
But in shipping, I would definitely, if you're in the States, you want to bulk it up in a flat rate shipping box. So make a lot, especially for stuff that, I mean, it's a bunch of commons. So you're just going to find out what the rate is for them individually, bulk it up, get rid of it. I mean, you can go to places like video game stores, but, keep in mind, they're not going to offer you much. You might be lucky and get maybe 40%, but that's very unlikely. Typically, they're only going to give you that if it's a premium title. You might be able to get them to go higher on a big premium title, but then they're not going to pay nothing on it. They're going to cherry pick. So
that store that I just made.
Did that
and that's 50% is actually really good.
I think most stores here are 50%,
and they'll go higher on like a higher ticket.
Really?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. A higher, especially if they know they got a buyer or it'll sell. You might be able to you might even be able to get it up to 70% if it's a good item. But but that's also about cultivating a relationship. I'm assuming Josh is maybe trying to blow the stuff out sooner. I don't know. Not quite sure what his angle is, but if you got the time, then take the time and sell it right. List it up on eBay, sell them individually. But some of those cheaper titles, those budget titles, I mean, if they're a $4 game, selling it online is going to be worthless. Then you're more likely to be try to sell at a yard sale or a convention. Might be a better angle. Or
swaps
locally
are huge.
I was going to say swaps. You say you sold at swaps, Chris?
I have sold at swaps, and I've done very well at swaps. And that's a great option. If you could sell at a swap, now what's great about that is there's no shipping. So you're able to cut them a better price. They're likely to buy more.
Table, I guess. You got to pay for a table, but
that, I mean, if you do it right, you can bundle up with somebody else at a table. You don't have to go all in on your own.
And table's $40 at the most, right? So
right.
I mean, most people, if you've got a decent, like, I think we were looking at like $2,000 profit. I know Joel.
I know that $40.
So
I know people that were making close to $5, like that had
stores
like really
or what?
good stuff.
Oh.
Well, and I know Joel probably bought more gold teeth when he got none.
What's that? Sorry,
yeah,
Chris?
Joel was able to buy another grill when he got his gold teeth.
Joel sold some high-end stuff. Yeah, you can do real well at those swaps.
Yes,
And here where we live, like we live in the retro gaming center of Canada.
Of Canada.
Like it's huge here. Like there's retro gaming swaps almost every month. At least there was for a while.
Yeah.
Like they were everywhere.
Yeah, Waterloo's closed down, but now there's more opening up around, like the Guelph and London.
Within an hour
now.
drive,
London.
There's literally one every month.
You didn't go to London, right?
No.
Oh. And there's Hamilton and
new one coming up in St. Catharines.
I did see that. Niagara, they called it. Yeah. Shit, I was going to say something.
So within an hour, literally, there's one every month here.
Yeah. James has sold at sales or swaps before, too. But that's what it was. Among the people that I knew selling at the Barry Game Exchange like 2 ago, I had made over $900, and everybody thought that was a lot because they made like $400 or less or $500 or less.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that might have been a case.
But they had no heavy hitters, probably. I think there was one guy had one heavy hitter and never sold it. So
see, if I made less than $500, I'd be pissed off because I don't even like doing it. I don't even like being at the swaps and selling. I don't like necessarily being on that end of the table.
I had fun selling the 2 times that I did, but I wished I was out there looking.
Right. I'm not a fan of doing it.
And I also don't love the negotiation part either.
I don't mind that because I'll take $5 off everything. And
my problem is I feel like in that pressure situation, I'm terrible at math.
Okay. Yeah.
Someone's like, this is a $7 game. This is a $10 game. This is an $8 game. This is a $5 game. What's the best deal you can do?
Right.
I need a calculator. I need it.
The issue I have is I don't know prices, so I just like frantically 2 nights before price everything.
I price everything before.
I price something's too high, and then I'm sure people are like, "Oh, this guy's trying to get too much money." I had one guy call me out on YouTube. It was the worst. The guy bought a game from me.
Okay.
I think I had it priced at 20. It was Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Okay.
I think I had it at 20, and he said, "Would you take 15?" I said, "Sure." And then he brought it back an hour later and tried to return it because he found it cheaper somewhere else.
No, you don't do that.
And I did it because I was shocked. I was like, "Is this happening right now?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay," and I returned it. And then he called me out on YouTube for charging 20. And I guess, I don't know, maybe it went for 18 or something. I was
Oh
like,
my
"You
God.
little-" And I called him out. I'm like, oh yeah, you're the guy that, because I remembered him.
Because you
I was
returned
like,
it, yeah.
You're the guy that returned a game at a
At
swap. You little shit.
Yeah, no, that's his own fault for not researching the area first. He could also came to you and said, that guy over there has it for $10. Will you do $10?
Yeah, I would have told him to fuck off, but
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was
You were
like
in
a
shock.
teenager. He was a teenager, and I was just like, I mean, I was doing fine, so I was like, okay.
And you got the game back, so you can just still sell it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awkward.
That's a dick move.
But then he called me out. I was like, what?
Well, that's because he's a teenager.
Yeah.
All right, next question from Josh at
That's-
Creepleet.
No, you
have
already
a game
did
party?
that.
What's that?
Didn't we just do? Oh, never mind. Go
No, I
ahead.
did Retro Pixel. You just read that
You're
wrong.
right.
No,
You're
I
right. I did.
Yeah, at Creepleet. When are we having a game party at SeeJayAre's house? Haha.
That's like the big thing going around work right now too, is because everybody found out about my YouTube channel, and I'm like, oh, when's the game? I've been saying for like 5 years that I'm gonna have one of
I
those.
remember you
parties,
telling me once.
and I just never get around to it. And yeah, it's I'm not like the entertaining type. Like we don't really have people over. It's like too much.
You don't want people touching your things. I wouldn't.
It's not even that. I'm just not always the
Nah,
most. Not always
that's
the
what
most
I-
social guy to begin with,
Okay.
right? Like, so for me, it's like it's not fun to have people over and like have to like entertain.
I'm
So
not the entertainer. My wife is.
Yeah, my
I'm
wife
more of a
too.
planner. Like I'll help plan stuff.
Yeah,
But when it comes to the day of, I just want to have fun.
yeah, and I can't.
Like I had to force myself to remember to get you a glass of water
Right.
before you got here. Like,
And it wouldn't be fun for me.
okay.
Because you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be able to relax. And I'm not worried about like people messing with the game.
No, because it's who you invite, right?
It's just me. I just like get too caught up in, hey, let me get your code. I gotta find somewhere to put the codes. Hey, where's the food? It's frantic, right? Like I can't relax. So that's partially why, yeah.
Josh told me he keeps bugging you about it. So
Well,
he said for years he's been
I
bugging
haven't
you.
heard from Josh for a
Well,
little
he said
while.
he changed his YouTube channel. I don't know. He was Game Hunters R Us before,
Yeah, it's Creeply.
and now it's Creeply. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was funny. Josh.
He's not on Twitter very much, but he's getting on more and more. And he
So-
also moved. He lives like by Good Time Games now.
Okay, because he used to live down the street from me.
Yeah, so
I
now
was
he's way
doing a
closer to me.
I was doing a stream one time, and I forget. I gave away, or no, my buddy came on who works for EA, and he had a bunch of copies of like whatever big game it was at the time,
Okay.
and he hooked me up with some. And we just randomly drew someone. Of course, Josh was the
Down
one
the-
that
down
won.
the street or-
Down the street. I'm like, oh, this looks real good.
Yep. Okay, and then from Start to Continue, Bill at STC Pod, are your YouTube earnings surpassing your buying and selling earnings? That's what he said. That sounds like no, based on what you said your buying and selling was before.
What do you?
Like YouTube ad revenue, is it more than your buying and selling games?
No. Oh God, no.
No.
I thought you meant like,
that's what
am
I
I
thought.
making enough to cover what I'm buying? Which yes, but no, God, no, not even
Yeah.
close. My YouTube revenue's never been crazy high, and it's like plummeted. It's a couple $100 a month.
Oh, it's even
now.
worse now?
Oh yeah, I mean, I haven't been posting regularly.
Sure.
I kind of killed my channel. I had some nice growth, and then I just stopped posting, and it plateaued, and it's hard to get back to where it was.
Yeah.
But I've just like, I got a little bit too caught up in the numbers there for a while of not even money. Money's not even really.
Yeah, just views and subscribers and stuff.
Subscribers, yeah. Not even views. For me, it was subs.
Okay.
I don't know why, but
Subs is
Yeah,
easy
the
to
views
see.
is what you get paid.
Yeah,
But see, I don't care. I never started a YouTube channel to make money, so it was almost just
Yeah.
like a bonus.
Yeah.
But subs,
Subs is a simple number that everybody can compare easily.
and I
or
kind of
set a
gauge
goal.
that for how well I'm doing, but really it should be views. I don't know. So
Yeah.
I got fixated on subs a little bit too much, and I just had to get back to making videos because I enjoyed making videos instead of worrying about numbers. But like I never made content for views, or else I would make different content. Right?
Yeah, for
Like,
sure. Like clickbait stuff, right?
garage sale videos and
Just start,
in my basement is not the way to get big on YouTube, right? It's not-
Yeah.
Just start doing. Yeah, you got to do Switch videos, dude. You be like Wood. Get your
And
And get some girls
500,000.
with their shirts real low and stuff.
Did you
No,
say-
you know,
You say Wood?
yeah, beat
Okay,
him up.
'cause I've called him out before too, but whatever, man.
Yeah.
Wood, I mean, he makes great videos. He's
Oh no!
really
Well, I
on
don't know if they're
camera.
great, but he makes videos. I mean, nothing against the guy. He makes videos. I mean, I wouldn't call him great. I'm not. He makes better videos than me because I make none.
Yeah.
But they are what they are. It's
I
10
haven't watched
minutes
his channel
of
in 2
filler and about 30 seconds of content. But
Fair enough. I missed the old beat 'em ups videos when he was in Australia with his buddy. I enjoyed those. I haven't watched any of his.
I wonder what happened to that guy, because somehow I just feel like it's probably a very sad ending for poor Chris in Australia.
I also wonder how Wood is even in America a lot of times, or Canada.
He talked about that for a while, but I never heard it.
Well, he's married now, so he's legal.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
He married.
None of that really matters to us in video game selling tips.
No.
All right. So these are questions that were suggested to me by Bill when I was talking about having you on. He was kind of trying to give me ideas of things to ask you. So when did you start collecting or playing games? Did you start collecting as a kid, or did you grow out of it, or did you catch the bug later? Like, when did you actually start your collection?
I started collecting, I think it was 2008 or 2009.
Was it because of garage sales, or?
No, I pulled out an NES out of my attic that wasn't mine from when I was a kid, but I had purchased, I think, in high school.
Okay.
And I was playing it out in my dad's cabana by the pool, and I was like, I kind of want more games, and I started starting with the games that I had as a kid. So I guess I was looking at, I think I started on Kijiji, and then I started looking at YouTube for, hey, I'm enjoying retro gaming. I started looking, actually, I somehow came across this blog that I've mentioned, and it's worth going back and looking at for anybody listening to this. Dom and Liz's Yard Sale Adventures.
Yeah, they were the ones with the mapping tool.
That I used for years. Yeah, no longer works.
That you put your address on the internet with.
If people can find me, it's not hard. I'm not. If they really want to,
I sent you a message saying, just so you know, you did this. I don't know. Yeah.
I was like, I don't. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. We also live in Canada. I feel pretty safe here, to be honest.
Yeah. And security system and such.
Right, and a massive dog, and yeah. So what was I saying?
Before I derailed you.
Oh yeah, Dom and Liz's Yard Sale Adventure. Go back and look at that, because as far as I know, it's still up there. But they used to blog basically like pre-YouTube of their garage sale finds, and their finds were ridiculous. Like they were just like, they had no shame. Like, it was like, box of rare NES stuff. Here, we'll give you $2 for it. Like, it's crazy.
But that was when nobody wanted the stuff too, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's how I somehow stumbled upon that. I think I just must have Googled retro games, yard sales.
Or like YouTube. I mean, Yahoo searched.
Right. And then I found a couple people on YouTube who were collecting retro games. The first two people were a guy named Easy B Man. And then Tom TB46667, who makes videos here and there now, but those are the two people I started following first. And then live garage sale stuff. The first person I saw doing that was SoCal Mike.
Okay, I don't know.
Who was on this old podcast I used to listen to. I forget the name of it now. But SoCal Mike was the guy that did the Coleco Chameleon, was the head guy of that.
Oh, okay.
Later on down the road.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I got the idea to record at garage.
He's not the Retro Gamer magazine guy too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So what were the other questions? Collecting.
Catch the bug to collect.
Yeah, like
so when you started seeing the garage sale videos, you're like, I can do that kind of thing.
Wow. I was terrified to be on camera, and I started by not showing my face, and like, it was really bad. Not that it's great now.
Are your videos still up, or did you delete all the old ones?
I deleted the first two, and I wish I didn't.
You could have at least unlisted them.
I did this awkward like intro video of who I am, and like, I just started collecting.
That'd be a good throwback, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would have been awesome to still have that, but it's gone. I did that in front of the camera. I think I deleted it right away, and then went to just like my hands and be like, oh, I found this.
Which a lot of people do that kind of thing to start out. Did your collecting ever seem out of control? Affect your job or your home life?
I once it did. Well, job life. So I worked at the hospital, and I would sneak out to pick up lots. And I once got busted in the break room cleaning NES games with Q-tips and the alcohol, like isopropyl from the, I don't know, from our stores area at the hospital. And somebody came in. I had no idea. Like, it was late at night, and this girl came in. I had like a bag full of NES stuff I was cleaning in the break room. Did
she call you, like, get you in trouble, like report you, or what?
I was cool with her. So, but other than that, no, nothing, no other issues.
Do you have an overall mission for your collection? Get everything, basically?
Collect everything ever made, yeah. I guess so.
Pass it along to kids. You said that before.
Yeah.
That's one of the things you really want to do.
They just don't sell it on eBay.
I don't think they would. I would think that if worst case, they would think, okay, Dad really liked this, like Dreamcast, NES kind of thing.
Right, and
Worst
I don't know if I
case, if they
expect
didn't have
them
space.
to haul around my entire collection to whatever house. Like, I don't think that's
Yeah.
realistic. So I don't know.
But when they have their own kids, then
If
that's
I'm-
when they would want
If
to.
I'm dead, then I don't know anyway.
I don't care
So,
anyway. Worst case, you gave them a good college fund.
As long as they just pretend that they are into it until I'm gone, and whatever.
Did you enjoy learning to mod Game Boys and selling them? Was that fun? You liked it? It's worth it?
Yeah, I enjoyed. I had never soldered before, so
Yeah.
I used YouTube to learn how to do that, and kind of not the easiest thing to. It's pretty intricate and pretty tiny. So
Soldering irons right over there.
yeah, so I did enjoy doing them. Like I said, I hate saying I don't have time. It's just, yeah, I've gotten less out of it. I also had a few that I couldn't get to work and had horizontal lines. I had some issues with, so it just got annoying for me. I mean, I just have to. My brain is kind of messed up in that I don't see it as this $2 Game Boy I got doesn't work. I see it as I just lost $80 because this doesn't work.
Because you can't get the profit out of it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So it's annoying when stuff doesn't work.
I see that same thing with when I'm looking at my controllers here. Like I've bought these these Wiimotes because I can see them. Wii remotes.
Yeah.
Put the battery in, turn it on, nothing happens. The light doesn't even come on. And to me, that's lost profit that I can't get back. Now they're good for parts.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
parts for me is like bins of stuff that sits under the stairs and I never touch.
Yeah, that's what I've got. Those have all been piling up for the last 2 years.
For me, it's like I have to let go of that stuff and realize that I'm never going to fix stuff like that and just get rid of it.
Some of it I will. I enjoy fixing controllers when I can.
Mhm.
Like original Xbox controllers. I like replacing the sticks. Xbox 360 controllers. I like cleaning them up, fixing them, replacing buttons. You can buy that stuff, no
But
problem.
how much profit are you getting?
Oh, none. I'm keeping all the Xbox 360 ones because I use them for Xbox 360
yeah, I
and
could see
PC.
that. Yeah.
Original Xbox ones, I've so far just been building up a collection of them. And then I've been modding Xboxes and selling them off with the modded Xbox.
Right.
So that's the only real benefit to that.
Yeah.
But I have so many now, I don't really need to fix any.
Mhm.
But eventually, I like to think that I'll fix them. And do you know how many modded Game Boys you sold? I'm just curious for myself.
Not
Really.
many.
Okay.
5.
Okay.
6.
And you only sold through Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried to price it like one for the amount of time it took me at first. It took me quite a long time.
Yeah.
And then whatever, less than what I saw them going for.
Gotcha.
I think people liked that it was maybe from me, people who were following, because I'm sure they could have.
Yeah, I
bought
can
it
see that.
somewhere else.
Like literally, if you would put your name in a sticker or something like that, might have even been
I don't know,
pushing that more too.
maybe.
Like a SeeJayAre, I mean, across it.
Maybe not that much.
Okay. And then on your game swap video, you said you might start tracking some sales, building up towards an expensive game. Have you started that? You already mentioned that.
No, I haven't started that because I haven't picked up anything.
That makes
So,
sense.
but when garage sale season starts, I think that'd be an interesting twist to add to the videos, even if it's just a running total that I can put maybe at the end of the video. Okay, instead of, I don't know if I'll break down. I don't know if I'll break down every single. This is how much I sold this for.
Mhm.
But I can say, last week's stuff got us this much cash so far, or whatever.
Well, yeah, the Craigslist. What was it? Craigslist finds. Was that their names? The two
Mhm.
guys in the
Arizona.
Yeah. They had that same kind of thing where they did a yearly total, and the end of the year they sold off the collection too.
Mhm.
Yeah, but something like that basically, where you do the running total of what you bought and sold, and then up this much or
I think
whatever.
that'd be interesting. to
I think
see
it
for
might
sure.
be because
Especially
it's also
like,
a good way to do something like this where you're teaching people skills they don't already have.
Yeah, that's one thing I really need to do is like a series of tips videos, like the ultimate garage sale guide or whatever. I've been saying I'll do that for years. I think I actually made one episode one time and just never did it again.
I think I remember watching. I
Yeah.
think so. Then do you know what game you'd go for and how long it would take? You think?
I'd love to go for not stadium events. Little Samson.
Yeah.
And that's, what do you think? Is it $1,200? I don't even know. Like $1,200 bucks?
I think it's I think 15. I think someone was saying there was one at the berry swap last year where they were asking 22. But I don't think it sold for 22. Everyone was criticizing.
I was hoping 12. But yeah, I'd love to start somewhere.
I think 17 was what I remember hearing. I think Hodge knows.
It would take me a month to get there.
Yeah,
I think you could get one American about 1,000 if you. People are still trying to get 1,200 or 1,300 American, but if you. But now I'm not sure in the trans. Was that like $2,000 Canadian or what?
I don't
They
know.
hit 1,000.
No, that's like 1,250.
Nah, I know I'm joking.
I was thinking it was higher than that.
Maybe 13.
Yeah, I don't remember. We can find out, but I'll just keep going.
13.
We don't need to convert.
I mean, I it might help, like, if I put it out there, be like, hey, I'm looking for this game.
That's true, yeah.
And somebody might be like,
and then you turn it into Nintendo Quest, where you get criticized for getting hookups.
Yeah. The hookup thing, like, I've hooked up people before, and for me, it comes down to if I know that game's going to stay in that person's collection, I have no problem sending them stuff or hooking them up. So, gotcha. It is weird, I guess. I don't want to be like, hey, send me stuff.
The biggest reason why I wouldn't do it if I was you doing that is because you want to do that goal where you reached the certain amount, right? And if you do get a good game for a cheap price, people think, oh, I can't do that because I'm not him.
Right, good point. Yeah, I don't want, if Samson goes for 15 Canadian and someone gives it to me for 13, that's amazing. I don't want somebody giving it to me for
because you'll just be criticized as you only got the hookup because you're you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Our next section is basically the last section. Suggested content. Anything you want to suggest people check out? Podcast, movie, TV show, YouTube channel, or videos at all? Anything like that? And you're up first, Charlie.
This is where I just promote everything
Well, if you no, you don't have to. We'll do that at the end. But anything not yours that you want to promote, basically. You don't really listen to podcasts, I think you've said before, right?
I listen to podcasts, but it's changed. I used to listen to a lot of gaming podcasts, but it's changed to a lot of sports. And I've been trying to listen to more business podcasts, more podcasts that's related to what I'm doing for work, just as like trying to learn more about marketing and stuff like that, because I don't have a marketing background. I'm in a marketing job right now. So, yeah, I mean, I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast. I love anything that's gonna kind of teach me stuff, and I can learn about video games too. But no, I don't know if I really have a podcast to recommend, other than
that's fine, or a YouTube channel either. You're just gonna say Bithead though.
Yeah, to be honest, my YouTube viewing has gone way down. Bithead and The Last Gamer. That's who I watch the most of. The last.
Yeah, I don't know Last Gamer, but I know I did just see him pop up.
Joel Hopkins, world's biggest video game collector.
Okay, that's what I thought I had heard that from somewhere. I couldn't remember if it was you or Chris that had said something about him.
Yeah, what else am I watching on YouTube? I watch a lot of fail videos with my boys every night. They always want to watch a fail video.
I haven't showed my son one of those yet because I'm worried,
They love them. There's got to be something
That's
else.
Fine. You can just...
I watch like Hot Ones on YouTube.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Something will probably pop in my head here when...
Of course, I opened the wrong document now. All right. And then next is me. I'm going to say virtual reality podcast I've been listening to. F Reality podcast. Check it out on Podbean. They're everywhere. Not just Podbean, but I've been, like me and you were talking before. I got the Vive. I got the PSVR. I've got the Daydream View for the Google Pixel. Just enjoying the VR stuff lately.
I rely on Jeff Kanata on DLC. Do you listen to DLC podcast?
No, but I know Jeff Kanata because it used to be a Totally Rad show.
Right. So I followed him to all his podcasts.
Okay. I started to, but I branched out to all of them. I mean, Daniel Trachtenberg is a director now.
Right.
And then Alex does a podcast. I think I checked out Alex's first.
Right.
But
I've just followed Jeff predominantly. He went to Weekend Confirm, which was a very big podcast, and then eventually to DLC. Anyways, he's a big VR and board game freak, so that's where I get a lot of my board game recommendations.
I remember you were picking up board games last year at garage sales.
Yeah, I still love
we've got this section here called it turned into puzzles for the kids.
Right. Yeah, I definitely have that section too.
All right. So Chris, any recommendations? Don't say NFL. Don't say NFL.
Well, it's not the NFL season, dork. I watched the Leaving Neverland. It's a Michael Jackson documentary. It's
I've been
Okay.
hearing
4
so much about
hours.
that.
Yeah, I wonder why that came.
It's pretty. It's gut wrenching. I mean, I tend to find the people in it credible. I know if you're a Michael Jackson supporter, like if you go onto Twitter and type it in, there's a lot of people who are on the flip side of that. But typically people don't lie about these kind of things, and their body language really kind of tells you what they're saying isn't a lie, and their whole families. But it's very interesting. Whether you believe it or not, it's still interesting to watch. And there's even a wrap-up show afterwards that Oprah was involved in, which wasn't too bad either. So I would check that out.
It's called Finding Neverland. There's also a
Leaving
Neverland.
okay. I like the Finding Neverland.
Leaving Neverland. It's on. It's a HBO. It's a HBO documentary.
HBO. That's what I couldn't find. It's not on Netflix, but it might be on Crave.
Which is Bell.
Yeah, which is fantastic. Crave's anything.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Crave's great.
I mean, Bell owns it as well.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, you can get it. I think you can get it on Rogers TV now. So yeah, I gotta check that out. I've been hearing a lot about it.
Yeah, it's definitely not family friendly. So it's something you don't watch that with your kids around. Like
no, we did watch. Remember that DVD that came out before? I think just before he died. This Is It.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Fantastic, man. That guy.
I never did watch it either.
It's worth checking out.
Well, what's interesting is if you could separate like the art from the artist type of thing. Like, I mean, I still like his music.
Well, he went through so much as a kid, I'm sure, with his dad and touring and all that.
Yeah, well, that doesn't.
That
I mean,
messes
that doesn't excuse. It messes someone up, but it doesn't excuse. There's a lot of people who are traumatized who don't go around victimizing children.
Yep.
So. Anyway,
people do.
Watch it yourself and make your own determination on what you think. But if you watch that and don't come away feeling a little jaded about them, I'd be surprised. Even if you don't believe the two men in the video, just everything else surrounding it, even his own words. I mean, I remember watching an interview with him once before, and the interviewer asked him, like, what's the deal with you sleeping with having children sleep with you? Not necessarily sex, just sleeping in the bed.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think it's totally normal. That's fine. And I'm like, no, it's not normal. A grown man, if it's your children, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If it's your nephew or something, that might be different.
Yeah.
But complete strangers, all right, I'm gonna tell you like this. Give me $1 billion, okay? And I'm a bachelor. I'm not building an amusement park to draw in children. I'm building the world's largest
kid in your own brain is what I was thinking about.
Right. He definitely has some mental issues and he missed out on his childhood. But like you said, that doesn't excuse.
You know what you do? Then you have your own children, and then you create a new childhood with them. You don't abuse children. You don't have sex with children. You don't do that. Anyway, I mean, I think all of that goes without.
We can all agree you don't have sex with children. Okay?
Absolutely. Right. You don't rape children. And it's not even having sex. You don't seduce and rape children. Right. Anyway, and then it's like, like how you have those
He doesn't like to get political at all, as you can tell.
Oh no, I'll totally do that. How I kind of have like those guilty pleasure things. Like this is something I kind of stumbled into, and I'm even
children.
Has nothing to do with children.
Okay,
but yeah, come on, dude. No. So one of the YouTubers was complaining about this guy who has like a drama channel who kind of just like bashes people or whatever, and I guess he's been bashing the Game Chasers and been bashing 8-Bit Eric and all that, and so I just kind of just said, oh, let me click on it, So I've been finding myself binging this guy. It's called Radical Rick. It's terrible, but thankfully you weren't in it, SeeJayAre. You're good.
You're good for now.
Yeah, you're good. He has nothing bad to say about you, but
big enough to...
he doesn't like the Metal Jesus crew, and he doesn't like the Game Chasers. And anyway, if you want, it's basically like tabloid. If you want to,
I'm not writing that one down though. That's not going to be in the show notes.
I don't care. It's going to be in the.
He's like
video.
Retro gaming community Keemstar, basically, it sounds like, or wannabe Keemstar.
Yeah, well, there's another guy, Tipster. I don't really particularly care. I don't really care for any of these guys, to be honest with you. But this one, the guy, I don't know. His videos are short, and I binged like, I don't know, 20 of them over the last week or so. But they're like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Yeah, Tipster's another garbage one too. Like, they're just garbage, man. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna recommend Radical Rick if you wanna your tabloids. Any of you out there, like,
I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Any of you out there,
Give this guy
like the tabloids, you like your TMZ? Okay, this is kind of like the lower level YouTuber TMZ.
Right.
So,
I know a guy that hates Metal Jesus Rocks.
Well, then if that's the case, there's some really good about Metal Jesus's, you know how he had his leak recently in his basement?
Yes.
A lot of people have accused him of e-bagging. That's like a big slander, you know, like, because you're an e-bagger, you're out there begging, which, you know, whatever. He got a lot of criticism because his Patreon was at the end of his video, but it's at the end of every one of his videos.
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, he's running a business here. Like, I don't find anything wrong with it. But if your buddy wants to get into some old Metal Jesus bashing, check it out. There's a lot of Metal Jesus bashing.
I mean, Metal Jesus has done stuff that, you know, he admits, like with that whole road trip thing.
The road trip is very bad.
He seems like a harmless guy. I don't really see how.
Yeah,
people...
he made a video explaining why he thought it was wrong.
He did, and you know what? And I remember when it came out, I remember thinking like, that's a bad look because people are going to take it. You know, they're going to take it the way it looks. Like, dude, you got your own money. Why don't you pay for your own trip?
Yeah. And
that's a very fair criticism. And he realized it, and he took that video down pretty much immediately, and he came out with a video later on admitting he knew was a bad idea. But you know, John Hancock's another guy. This guy bashes a lot for.
I've been hearing like stuff about John Hancock being an e-bagger and.
Okay, this is what. All right.
I don't know anything about it.
I'll tell you right now. I think John Hancock is probably a really nice guy. He seems like a really nice guy, truthfully. But I can understand some of the criticism where it's like, hey, I got this big collection. I really need this one game. I really need this. And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, someone sends it to you. I don't know. Some people think that's e-begging. I think it's probably hinting. All right. Yeah. Like, hey, someone out there might give me this. This is e-hinting. Because he talks about this museum, but it's like, I mean, dude, I'm just gonna say, anybody out there who wants to donate to John Hancock, if you're doing it, just assume you're giving it to John Hancock. Yeah. Don't think you're donating to some museum. Just you're giving it to him. And if you're fine with that, then be fine with that. If you think you're giving it to a bigger cause, he might not come through on that, and then what? You know what I mean? Just assume if you're giving it to him, you're just giving it to him and leave it at that. Yeah. If you want to donate to a museum, there's actually a museum that's already established, like in Texas. Donate to that museum. If you really want to donate to a museum, if you want to donate to John Hancock, then donate to him. You know, like I've never met the guy in person. He was on our old podcast, on the NARC podcast. He was really nice. But you know, it is what it is. If you don't like him, then don't donate to him. Don't watch the channel. But if you want to hear somebody bash him, tune into Radical Rick.
Right. We're moving on.
Rick, not Radical Reggie. That's
no, that's one of Metal Jesus guys.
Buddy.
Ironically,
Radical Reggie. I'm like, no, that can't be right.
Wrong.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
We also got a last minute question from Canadian Retro. He said, "What's a strategy when you want to lowball somebody? Like, what's a strategy to deliver a lowball, basically?"
I don't think I've ever like in my head gone, I want to lowball this person.
Well, but what would be your $20 thing?
Yeah.
If it's something worth like $300, for example.
Okay. Again, yeah. Well, if it's a $300 game that I need for my collection.
Yeah.
Totally different from whether it's a $300 game that I know I'm going to sell.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I want to get it. If I need it for my collection, I want it to be as cheap as possible and have that person be happy with what they got, like I said.
Gotcha.
If it's something that I know I'm gonna flip right away, then I'm likely to give them more money for it.
Okay.
That's kind of how I work by. But I never go in thinking like this is a low buy. I think of the $20 as like this is usually a starter. Right?
Gotcha.
Like, I'm trying to think of a situation where there was one game that was. I don't think I've ever.
Or even a
had one.
bundle. Like, let's say it's a bundle with a fantastic N64 and a bunch of really good games.
Yeah, see that? I don't know. I'm sure you can go back and see if I've offered someone $20 for that. I probably have, but like off the top of my head, that'd be more like 40, which
Yeah.
is still a ridiculous deal. But like I said, the name of the game for me is to get things as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
And not have that person feel like.
So any tips for getting it as cheap as possible when you're actually talking to the person and negotiating on a price?
When's the last time you played it? Do you know if it still works? Don't let them. I don't go in and say, "Oh, I'm a big collector. I have this huge collection." But don't go, "What's this thing? Is this a video game?" You know, like
this is a DVD player.
You don't have to let on that you know. You don't have to let them know that you know what you know, right? Without lying, obviously. So yeah, tips. Mention how old it is. I wouldn't get too heavy into the nostalgia of like, oh, I had one of these when I was a kid, because I don't like to play my cards. I'll have my boys with me, and it's not a lie, and it probably helps. Like, like I like to play, sometimes I'll play, I like playing these games with my kids and stuff like that, right? Because they're there with me, and it's true.
Yeah.
So that can help out too, but I know not everybody has kids.
Say you have kids if you don't. I don't agree with that.
I've seen that happen. I don't know if you've run into the older European guy at the garage sales.
I don't think so.
But he says he's looking for video games for his kids, but he's looking for video games to sell.
Yeah.
Tips. Yeah, I don't know. Tips for getting stuff. Cash and face technique.
I want to see that guy that you're talking about because I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Cash and face technique.
Do you have black hair?
Yeah.
Short black hair? Okay.
Yeah.
I know where he lives then.
He's like a Corolla. He lives in Stoke.
Stoke, yeah. I bought off him, and the console I got from was broken.
He had a garage sale, I remember, and he had a bunch of good stuff, Vectrex stuff, and it's all.
Oh.
He
told me his son collects.
He's full of shit.
Yeah. I got a Atari Junior from him, and I paid more than I should. I paid $50 for it plus some games, which included a ET before ET became kind of popular.
Right.
Recently, where they dug them all up. It was before that. And the system doesn't work. It's all garbled on the screen. So
right.
Whatever. But I also got a good deal from him. The next time I went to his garage sale, I got like Deadpool for PS3 when it was like brand new for $7 for it and several other games that were worth $10 each. So that kind of justified it in my head. But
yeah, I see he looks for records too, and he has terrible taste.
We saw him this past year too.
Yeah.
At a garage sale.
Yeah, so he disappeared the year before, and then I saw him out this past year. But the year before that, he was my main competition that year.
Okay.
He's good. He moves quick. He's good.
I did see him move quick.
Yeah, he's good.
He's not very good at negotiating. He was a bit of a dick.
Yeah, and he just seems to know. He's seen like there's a lot of times where I'm like he beats us to places.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just there. It's like.
All right. So our last thing is plugs. This is Charlie at SeeJayAre on Twitter, and Instagram. He's SeeJayAre. On YouTube, he's SeeJayAre. That's SeeJayAre, spelled out.
Yeah.
And he's one of the hosts of the Screen Therapy podcast, which I've been listening to since it started. It's good. I want to ask you if you just stole your logo from somewhere, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's from Google Images.
I think I saw it and thought this looks really generic, and copied, like search Google. I'm like, yeah, it's just from somewhere.
Google Image. Yeah, it was like a placeholder, and Nick, my co-host, was like, I kind of like it. It's just been there ever since. So, our podcast is very thrown together right now. It's hard, right? Because podcasts are tough.
And it's your second podcast with him, even.
Yeah, so that part's been good because we have a good rapport and we're used to each other. And but it's the prep time. Like we really need to put more prep time into the podcast.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times where we have topics, but then I never want to get into a space where I'm just talking out of my ass just for the sake of
talking about it. Yeah.
And sometimes I'll go on and I'll be like, Nick, I don't even know. I'm just talking to talk, and like I don't want to do that. So
yeah. You want to have something to add to the topic, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we try and pick stuff that I don't know, we actually want to talk about and keep it brief. I find if you have like in mind, like, oh, you want to talk about this for this long, then it turns into just you stretching out a conversation and it's not interesting anymore.
Okay.
But my point is, like, it's weird because like you see like your podcast growing, and then as you kind of see more people listening, it kind of motivates you to put more time into it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can see that. Even though it's not a revenue stream, it's just.
Yeah, I think of a
throwing
podcast as practice, like just getting comfortable doing them, and like it's something that I put on my resume that we do a podcast, and yeah, it's definitely not going to make any money.
Yeah,
that's not happening.
Yeah. All right, and then Chris, my co-host, that's CWR2, CWR and the number 2 on Twitter and Instagram, and I am Derek of Two Dorks, that's TWO Dorks on YouTube. Where you can watch this podcast if you're not listening to it audio. And the Cartridge Club, where me and Chris met, cartridgeclub.org, a community of gamers, content creators, and collectors. Cha-ching.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
All right. See you, Chris.
See you later,
Thanks
buddy.
for being my guest.
Yeah, I appreciate it.